Hey science dreamer, stargazer, light chaser. Tonight, you're not just going to fall asleep, you're going to float through space and time, wrapped in whispers of starlight. We'll journey into the calm mysteries of light itself, where every beam tells a billion-year-old story, and even darkness holds memory. This isn't a lesson, it's a lullaby written in photons. So take a breath. Let your shoulders drop, and let your mind settle into stillness. You've carried so much today. Now you don't have to carry anything at all. Before we begin, love to know, what time is it where you are right now? And what part of the world are you listening from tonight? Let me know in the comments. I read them all. Now close your eyes, science soul. Let the light dim around you, and come with me into the story of the last light before the edge. You lie still, and a dim light filters in through the curtains. Not golden, not silver, but something in between. Your room is quiet, as if the air itself is listening, and yet something is already in motion, even though you have not moved. A photon, born long before this moment, touches the wall, then your blanket, then your skin, and in that soft touch, something ancient has arrived. Light does not rush. It may feel instantaneous, but it never is. Even now, as you blink and feel the warmth along your cheek, you are not truly present. You are seeing what already happened. That light, warm and gentle, began its journey a fraction of a moment ago, and only now has it reached you. It is the quietest delay, but it is there. Your body, your vision, your shadow, all of them arrive a little late to the present. Outside, the streetlight flickers, and you sense a change in brightness. But that change did not just happen. It happened some moments before your eyes ever caught it, and still, it matters. In that softness, the world becomes more poetic. You are not watching the present. You are reading a memory, written in light. Every photon you see is a traveler, a silent messenger that has flown sometimes from centimeters away, sometimes from billions of kilometers, only to end its voyage in the dark pool of your pupil. The reflection in your mirror is not of who you are now, but who you were a hair's breadth of a second ago. When you see yourself blink, that blink is already over. You are living in a subtle echo. The warmth of a sunbeam on your skin. Even that has lag. The sun itself is 8 minutes away, which means in the simplest terms that your present is always someone else's past. The moment you thought was now is already a memory from far away. And everything you've ever seen, even the things closest to you, were never truly current. Light does not allow you to witness the present. It only lets you read its last letter. In a way, you are like a radio tuned to yesterday, not in a nostalgic sense, but in a real physical one. The stars above your head, many of them died before you were born, and yet their light, their final words, just arrived. Imagine whispering across a canyon, and only hearing the reply years later. That is what starlight is. The universe is not live, it is on a delay. Your shadow, too, obeys this lag. It doesn't flee from you. It hesitates. When you wave your hand under the lamp, the shape it casts has already happened. The space it occupies is slightly behind, slightly slower, slightly separate. You walk forward, and your shadow follows, but only after light registers you were there. In that sense, your shadow isn't you. It's a report of you. A newsprint version, always one edition late. And yet, there is comfort in this slowness. The delay is not brokenness. It's how everything holds together. If light could arrive instantly, the fabric of reality would fray. No stars, no time, no causality. It is the pause, the distance, that allows connection. Imagine speaking a sentence, and needing time for the other person to hear it. That pause is what makes meaning possible. Without it, all communication would collapse into noise. Consider this. When a supernova erupts in a galaxy millions of light years away, we see it today. Not because it happened now, but because today is the day its light finished traveling. It may have occurred while mammoths still roamed, while glaciers covered Europe, while your ancestors whispered stories around fires, but only now has its light curled softly into your eye. Time, in that sense, folds into distance. What you see is not where something is, it's where it was. What you see is not when something is, it's when it let go. You are always receiving farewells. Even your room in its stillness contains this delay. The glow from your bedside lamp bounces off your hand, off the book cover, off the glass of water, each bounce requiring distance, each reflection carrying delay. Your eye gathers all these small, staggered moments and weaves them into something that feels whole. But the truth is, every glance is a collage, a puzzle of separate timings disguised as one. Even dreams, perhaps, are shaped by this slowness. The neurons firing in your brain do not flash all at once. The visual cortex, the memory banks, the emotional centers, each send their signals in order, not unity, and yet your dream feels seamless, just as the world does, just as light allows. So when you drift into sleep, you are not abandoning the world, you are joining its rhythm, a rhythm not of urgency, but of grace. Light moves at a fixed pace, 299,792 kilometers per second, and nothing can move faster, not even your thoughts, not even your breath. The universe has a speed limit, and it is light, but that limit is not a wall, it is a cradle. The pause between action and vision, it protects you, it cushions you, it means you are never hit by reality, only touched by its softened echo. When lightning strikes far away, the flash arrives first, and the thunder later. That separation is not a flaw, it's a mercy. It lets you prepare, it lets you breathe. Tonight, your body is still, but light still moves, across the room, across your eyes, across your heart. And even though it is fast, unimaginably fast, it is never instant. There is always a whisper of time between, a breath, a hush. And in that hush you live, not in the present, not in the past, but in that liminal space where everything has almost arrived. Your mind, your skin, your sleep, all live in the gentle arms of delay. Because nothing real ever arrives without first traveling. And all that travels, all that takes its time, becomes more than just light. It becomes memory, it becomes meaning, it becomes the soft space where you finally begin to rest. There's a gentle kind of mystery that lingers in everything you see. It hides not behind the darkness, but within the very light that makes vision possible. Each time your eye opens to the world, it is touched by something that is already gone. Light, after all, is never current. It is always a trace, a soft remainder of what once was, still trying to reach you. You may sit in your room and feel that the lamp beside you illuminates your hand in real time. You may wave your fingers and watch their motion, believing you're watching yourself move. But that isn't quite true. There is always a pause, imperceptible, tiny but real. The light must first reflect off your skin, travel the small space to your eye, and then be transformed into a signal. By the time your brain sees you move, the motion has passed. This delay is not a flaw of biology. It is a universal truth. Light itself, even at its incredible speed, needs time, and the fact that it needs time means you are always receiving the world slightly late. Every star you've ever looked at, every shadow you've ever chased, was part of a quiet past, dressed in light's clothing. The closer you look, the more you notice how much has already slipped by. Outside, a car passes. The glint of its metal, the sudden shine on its windshield. They reach your eyes like echoes. You don't see the car where it is, but where it was. And the further away something is, the further back in time it remains. There's no such thing as looking ahead in space without looking backward in time. Light, in its devotion, brings you visions of what no longer exists. But that sap's not sad. Its sap's just strangely tender. Imagine the photons that strike your eye right now. Each one began its journey just before this moment, bouncing, bending, whispering past molecules and dust, only to land on the surface of your retina. There they spark chemical reactions, tiny chain responses, sending quiet messages along your optic nerve. By the time you recognize the image, the light itself is gone. It gave its energy to you. It vanished, so that you could see. Each photon is a letter, a goodbye note, and your brain is a translator, reading meaning from the ghosts of movement and shine. You don't just see light, you inherit it. You cradle it gently, always a few steps behind its source. If you lie still long enough and watch the ceiling, you might notice how light plays across it. Little gradients, little changes. These are not new movements. They are reflections, hand-me-downs from somewhere else. A passing cloud, a turning leaf, a flickering candle. The light brings the story to you, and the story is already over, but you read it anyway, and it becomes yours. And what about the light you don't see? There are forms of light, too fast, too slow, too quiet for your eyes. Infrared warmth curling around your body, ultraviolet threads dancing across the morning air, X-rays slipping silently through your bones. All of them exist. All of them travel, and all of them obey the same rule. They take time. They carry delay. Even when you whisper to someone across the room, the photons of your reflection in their eyes are from just a moment ago. If you could freeze the universe in one frame, each person would be looking at a slightly different version of reality, slightly different distances, slightly different pasts, all overlapped in one continuous now. When astronomers look deep into the sky, they aren't looking far, they're looking back. The further the telescope sees, the older the light it collects. Some galaxies are so distant, the light from their birth is only arriving now, and some are so far that their light will never arrive, forever stuck in a race it cannot win. We call those galaxies beyond the observable universe, not because they don't exist, but because their light, their story will never reach us. Your body is made of atoms formed inside such galaxies, stars that died long ago, scattering their contents across unimaginable distances. The calcium in your teeth, the iron in your blood, the carbon in your skin, all of it traveled. All of it obeyed the same delay. You are not just a person made of stardust. You are made of light's leftovers, of journeys completed in silence. That delay lives in your heartbeat too. The light from a firefly doesn't just flicker for fun. It takes time to reach the eyes of another. Even their dance, their luminous communication, is set to the rhythm of delay. Trees reflect moonlight just a fraction of a moment after it touches their leaves. The glow of your phone screen, it too is always a beat behind your touch. And light, even in its delay, is loyal. It carries the truth, even if that truth is old. When you look at the moon, you're seeing it as it was just over a second ago, not as it is now. The same goes for Mars, Saturn, and the Sun. And yet that knowledge doesn't make them feel distant. If anything, it brings them closer. You are seeing them through their own stories. You are holding their postcards in your hands. There is a kind of comfort in knowing you are always in dialogue with the past, that every image you see has already passed through time to find you, that your sight is not a snapshot, but a gathering, an arrangement of old light singing its way into the now. Sleep, too, honors this delay. Dreams don't begin instantly. They need the slow drift, the quiet fade of awareness, the tilt of brain waves into something softer. And even then, what you see in your sleep is often stitched together from delayed thoughts, old impressions, memories softened by time. Light trains the mind to understand delay, and in return the mind learns how to dream. So the next time you open your eyes and look at the world, you'll know you're not looking at it now, you're seeing its echo. A softened version, a memory wrapped in motion, and your role isn't to chase the present. It's to rest inside the delay, to let light take its time, to fall asleep in the hush that follows every photon's final breath. Your eyelids are heavy now, not from exhaustion but from the soft weight of understanding. There's something about realizing how far light must travel to reach you that brings a kind of peace. You are never rushed. You are never late, because even light, the fastest thing in the universe, needs time to arrive, and so do you. Tonight, your body breathes in the quiet truth that every image is a memory, and every memory is shaped by light. You close your eyes, and the darkness isn't empty. It's filled with stories light has told, gentle impressions of all the things it's touched on its way to you. A wall, a hand, a smile, a star. You carry those moments not as instant flashes, but as whispered arrivals, always a little delayed, always a little poetic. The idea that you are always seeing the past might sound strange at first, but the more you feel it, the more natural it becomes. You are stitched into time not by sharp seams, but by soft overlaps. The present is never a single point. It's a blur, a blending. When you walk through your house in the dim blue of evening, light folds around you like a fog of previous moments. The hallway isn't what it is now, It's what it was a blink ago. And that's okay. That's enough. There's safety in the delay. It means you don't have to keep up. It means you can slow down and still be perfectly aligned with the way the universe moves. Imagine for a moment, if light were instant, you would see every detail all at once, from all directions, in perfect simultaneity. There would be no shadows, no depth, no warmth of color, just overwhelming truth. But truth, in its gentlest form, is delayed. Truth takes its time. That's how your eyes learn to trust. When you reach for a cup, you don't need the image to be perfectly current. Your brain adapts. It smooths over the microseconds, the nanoseconds, the moments that are already gone. And in doing so, it allows you to live as though you are here, now, even though everything you see is slightly before. And the stars. Oh, the stars. They become something else. When you begin to understand this, they aren't just distant fires. They're relics, beacons. Some of the stars you see tonight might not even be there anymore. Their light, born thousands or even millions of years ago, is only now reaching your retina. You're not stargazing, you're star-remembering. A photon that leaves a dying star and travels for 1 billion years just to reach your eye. That's a commitment. It's one of the longest stories ever told, and you, quietly tucked into your blanket, become its final audience. That moment, your blink, your glance, your dream, becomes the destination of an ancient journey. Even your dreams, they too, are filled with old light. Maybe not starlight, but memory light. The glow of childhood afternoons. The flicker of people long gone. The dim shapes of places your eyes no longer remember clearly, but your heart still holds. These dream lights are made from the same physics, delayed, refracted, carried through space and neurons until, suddenly, they arrive again, right here, just before sleep. There's another delay too, hidden in the fabric of emotion. When someone smiles at you, their smile is already in the past. You receive it after it's been given. And yet it still warms you, it still matters. Every interaction in your life has existed within this delay. Not one hug, one kiss, one tear, one word has ever been truly simultaneous, and yet all of them felt real. Time and light are patient with you. They do not demand urgency. They only ask for attention. If you give them that, they will give you beauty. The color of the sky before a storm, the reflection of a face in a window, the shimmer of light on water at dusk. All of it arrives late. All of it is perfect. Even sound, though slower than light, teaches you this lesson. Thunder, arriving after lightning. Echoes, arriving after words. Music, drifting behind the fingers that played it. Your world is a tapestry of delays, and those delays are not mistakes. They are invitations. To feel, to reflect, to rest. Your heart, too, runs on delay. Each beat is a response to something that already happened. A signal from the brain, an adjustment in pressure, a remembered rhythm. Your body is not in sync with the present. It is dancing with its own echoes, and somehow that dance is the most natural thing of all. Tonight, as you drift between thought and stillness, let yourself imagine that light is still on its way to you, that somewhere, far off, a beam is moving toward your room. It has passed dust clouds and orbiting moons, crossed fields and oceans, and now it's threading its way through your window pane. And just before you slip into sleep, it will arrive, quietly, without fanfare, and touch your closed eyelids like a soft hand. And you will know, even if you don't remember it in the morning, that light kept its promise. Because light always arrives, not when you expect it, not when you need it, but when it's ready, and when you're ready to receive it. It feels like nothing is moving. The room is still, the walls, the furniture, the air. They all appear to be holding their breath. Your chest rises and falls softly, as if in agreement with this gentle pause. Outside, there are no gusts, no motion you can see, and yet, this stillness is a lie, a beautiful, necessary lie. Because everything around you is in motion. The earth itself is spinning beneath you at over 1,600 kilometers per hour. Right now, as your limbs relax into your bed, you are being carried through space faster than a bullet, not just spinning with the planet, but orbiting the sun at more than 100,000 kilometers per hour. and that sun in turn is hurtling through the galaxy at nearly 1,000,000 kilometers per day. You are never truly still. You only feel still because everything else is moving with you. Stillness is not the absence of motion. It's the synchronization of it. In this moment of quiet, your body aligns with countless invisible journeys. You are part of a system that moves so perfectly, so consistently, that your senses don't notice. The floor beneath you doesn't tremble. The stars overhead don't blur. It feels like the world is paused, but really you are surfing through the cosmos, balanced perfectly on a rotating sphere of molten iron and ancient rock. The breath you just took in? It came from air that has traveled, drifting over forests, cities, oceans, stirred by wind and heated by sunlight, that left the sun 8 minutes ago. That warmth on your pillow, the faint golden hue near your window, is ancient fire slowed down by time and filtered through atmosphere. Even your sense of quiet is built upon momentum. You close your eyes and believe you're not going anywhere, but your bloodstream disagrees. Your heart is pulsing, your cells are replicating, and photons are still entering your skin. Your atoms vibrate with thermal energy, and beneath that, your electrons orbit nuclei in an unending blur. Stillness, in the strictest sense, doesn't exist. It's just movement we've learned not to feel. The glass of water on your bedside table, its molecules dance with energy. They bump and drift and nudge against one another like people in a crowd. The surface may look calm, but even that calmness is the result of balance, with forces pulling and pushing so perfectly that the top appears smooth. And in the tiniest scale beneath that illusion, chaos hums. Even the light that reflects off that water is moving. A photon bounces from the lamp to the glass, from the glass to your eye, from your eye to your mind. The world doesn't pause to be seen. It moves continuously, and you see it mid-motion. Why does this matter? Because we often mistake stillness for safety. We believe that if we can just stop, just hold everything in place, we'll feel calm. But real peace doesn't come from stopping motion. It comes from understanding it, accepting it, allowing it. When you realize the earth is moving beneath you and you feel no fear, that's peace. When you remember that you are orbiting a sun you cannot touch, circling through a galaxy you cannot see, and yet you still sleep soundly, that's trust. Your stillness is not a sign of nothingness. It's a sign of harmony. Your body is a testament to this. Even as you lie motionless, countless systems operate beneath the surface. Your lungs expand without command. Your heartbeat adjusts to your dreams. Your brain cycles through waves and pulses, sending electrical signals in patterns that resemble weather. And all of this happens, not because you are disconnected from the universe, but because you are moving with it. You are part of the Earth's rhythm. Day and night aren't just about light and dark. They are cosmic choreography. The sun rises because the Earth turns. The stars wheel overhead, not because they move, but because you do. You are on a rotating stage, and the sky is your dome. Each star follows a path you help create, just by being here. Imagine if you could see all this motion at once. The spin of the planet, the orbit around the sun, the sun's path through the galaxy. It would look like a spiral, an endless curve through space. And you are on that spiral now. You have always been. Every moment of your life, you've been carried forward by it. And somehow, in all that movement, you still feel grounded. That's because the illusion of stillness is a gift. It allows you to think clearly, to focus, to rest. If your body registered every motion of the cosmos, it would be overwhelmed. Instead, it tunes out the cosmic velocity and lets you experience your own small calm. It lets you feel like the world is holding still for you, like the stars paused their dance so you could breathe. This is not a failure of perception. It's a kindness of evolution. Because the truth is, stillness is not real, but the feeling of stillness is, and that feeling is sacred. As you drift deeper into the quiet, imagine what your room might look like if time were frozen, not because motion stopped, but because all motion moved together. The dust particles in the air would hover mid-glide. The leaves outside your window would seem suspended, not because they stopped, but because their motion echoed the winds. You would be inside a moving painting, and everything in it would be flowing in sync. That's what sleep is like in a way. A state where your mind lets go of individual movements and begins to feel only the rhythm underneath. Your muscles go slack. Your thoughts slow down. But you are still moving, still breathing, still orbiting. You are never alone in this movement. Every person on Earth is on this ride with you. Every sleeper, every dreamer, every stargazer, all held by the same planetary cradle. And though you can't feel it, you are always falling, not down but around. Gravity keeps you tethered, momentum keeps you spinning, and light, even delayed, keeps you warm. There's something deeply comforting about that. The world doesn't wait for you, but it also doesn't leave you behind. It carries you forward, gently, unrelentingly, even when you feel stuck, even when you feel like nothing is happening. The Earth is still spinning. The stars are still burning. The galaxy is still unfolding like a spiral notebook of time. Stillness is not a lack of motion. It's motion in balance. And tonight, that balance surrounds you, holds you, rocks you. You are part of the universe's movement, not outside it, not lost in it, but moving in perfect harmony. Every breath, every blink, every thought, all timed with forces larger than your body could ever contain. So let yourself be still. Let yourself move. And let yourself fall asleep, gently, in the rhythm of something ancient. The light beneath your bed is not what it seems. It doesn't just sit there waiting. It creeps, bends, flows, bouncing from the floor, filtering through air molecules, brushing along the fibers of your blanket before vanishing into the quiet. You think of light as linear, like a beam fired from a flashlight or the glow from a screen. But light does not only travel, it touches, it responds, it searches for a way in. Even in the dark, even when your eyes are closed, light is still finding surfaces to land on. The space beneath your bed may appear untouched, but photons still wander there, reflecting faintly off wooden slats, collecting in corners like soft dust. They move in angles, arcs, scattering from places you don't notice. The wall behind you, the curve of your pillow, the page of a forgotten book, tucked beneath the frame. Light, like time, leaves nothing untouched. Your body feels still, but the air around you is alive with motion. Invisible waves pass through it, some caused by warmth, some by sound, some by the shifting pressure of night's slow breathing. And light rides those waves too. It bends gently around the shape of your body, curling along your silhouette. The photons don't simply stop when they encounter something. They negotiate, they slide, they scatter and blur. Beneath the bed, in that quiet zone you rarely think about, light is doing delicate work. It's illuminating the edges of things. A shoelace, a wooden leg, the curve of a sock fallen out of sight. These objects cast shadows so faint you might miss them, but they're there waiting to be revealed, waiting for the right angle, the right glance, waiting for your awareness. Stillness, you're beginning to understand, is layered. There is the stillness of the body, the kind that comes at the end of a long breath, when your chest is neither rising nor falling. Then there's the stillness of the room, the hush between distant car horns, the pause between footsteps above. But beneath both is a deeper stillness, the stillness that comes not from absence, but from balance, from everything moving just enough to appear unmoving. Even the smallest thing beneath your bed is caught in this web of motion. A loose thread quivers with vibrations too small for you to feel. The floorboards gently flex with temperature. The light that settles there is a recording device, capturing the evidence of every shift. If you could speed up time, you'd see it. The dance of shadows, the flicker of glints, the wave of patterns that roll across even the most hidden spaces. You don't need to look beneath the bed to know this. You can feel it in the way light reflects off your own body. That small patch of warmth on your ankle. It's the result of a ray that bounced off the window frame, passed through a narrow slit between the mattress and wall, and landed precisely on your skin. It made the journey for you, and it did so while you were doing nothing. This is how the universe works when you're not looking. Light continues its work in silence. Energy moves without permission. Atoms shift their orientation. Molecules rotate, and the earth itself turns ever so slightly, carrying your bedroom, your bed, and your resting form with it. Stillness is simply the name you give to the moment you decide not to interrupt. Beneath your bed is a world rarely touched by your footsteps, and yet it is part of your space. Your energy fills it. Your warmth drifts down to it, and as you sleep, your breath slowly spreads across the room like a cloud, not just upward but downward, into the quiet. The carbon dioxide you exhale drifts, accumulates, moves along baseboards and floor gaps and low-pressure pockets beneath the furniture. The life that exists there is not just imagined. Dust particles shift and tumble with every exhalation, motes of skin, strands of hair, air currents that swirl invisibly. You think of these things as mess, things to clean, to remove, but in another sense, they are messages. They are the proof that you are here, that your stillness is alive, and the light beneath the bed reads them, not with eyes, not with thought, but with pure physical consequence. It bounces off those particles, it colors them slightly, it changes their direction, it warms them. Your presence is written in these tiny changes, a record of being stored not in memory but in motion. As you breathe deeper, as your body falls further into rest, you might wonder, why does it matter? Why care about the light beneath the bed, the particles, the soft motion in shadowed corners? Because it reminds you that stillness is not the same as silence, that even in the places you forget, life continues. The universe does not require your observation to be complete. It moves with or without your attention, and yet, the more you notice, the more you feel held by it. Every shadow under your bed exists only because light was once blocked, because something stood in the way, your body, your blanket, the edge of your mattress. But shadows are not darkness, they are light's memory. And beneath your bed is filled with these memories, soft outlines of your shape, your reach, your history of motion. Sleep, too, creates a shadow, not one you can see but one you can feel, a soft darkening of awareness, a deepening of the internal quiet. But within that shadow, the body continues. Cells divide, blood flows, nerves spark and repair. Light may no longer enter your eyes, but it still lands on your skin, your hair, the edge of your ear. And beneath the bed, the light continues its patient work. Tonight, let yourself imagine that you are not separate from that light, that you are part of its journey, that each breath you take is in sync with the photons sliding across the floor, weaving around the furniture, whispering against the wood, that your dreams are made in part from these motions, these reflections, these delicate touches of light that never demanded your attention, but waited anyway. You are not alone in your stillness. You are moving with a quiet world that knows how to hold you gently, even in places you cannot see. The earth turns in your sleep. You may not feel it. You may never have thought about it much at all, but as your body rests, as your limbs grow heavy beneath the weight of calm, the very ground beneath you is rotating through space. Slowly, steadily, with the patience of ancient rhythm, the planet spins and carries you with it, effortlessly. There is no engine humming beneath your bed, no tremor in the floor, no tug against your spine. And yet, this rotation shapes everything you know. Day becomes night. Night becomes day, not because the sun moves, but because the earth turns its face, little by little toward and away from light. While you lie still, eyes closed, this great turning continues. This motion is not loud. It doesn't demand attention. It is so smooth, so constant, that you've never known life without it. Every second of your existence has been cradled in this motion, in this unseen wheel, spinning you into morning after morning, sleep after sleep. And tonight, like every night, it spins again. If you were to hover just above the ground, held perfectly in place while the earth turned beneath you, you'd see the horizon glide past. Cities would move, mountains would slide from view, oceans would rotate beneath your feet like a silent clock. But instead, you are attached, rooted, along for the ride, which is why it feels like you are still, and the stars are the ones that move. But the stars are constant. It is your vantage point that changes. You see them rise and fall, not because they travel, but because your body, your pillow, your breath, your dreams, are being turned gently by a sphere that never stops spinning. You are a passenger on a vast and ancient carousel, one so smooth you can sleep without ever sensing motion. And yet, motion is everywhere. Your blanket doesn't press down the same way all night. As the earth turns, so too does gravity shift in microscopic ways. The angle of pull, the direction of sun and moon and sea. Your bed creaks differently, depending on where the planet is in its spin. The tides respond. The air cools. Your dreams shift. Quietly, with the spinning world. Time itself is born from this rotation. A single day, 24 hours, is not an arbitrary unit. It is the time it takes your planet to complete one full turn. Your birthday, your appointments, your memories, all of them are measured by how many times Earth has spun since you first took breath. You live not just in days but in rotations, and every rotation is unique. Even though the cycle repeats, no two spins are ever exactly the same. Clouds form in different shapes. The wind sweeps across different continents. People are born. People leave. And through it all you remain a passenger, turning quietly with the rest of us, unaware but never untouched. Sometimes in early dawn you can feel it, not as dizziness or speed, but as alignment. That soft golden light, peeking through the window. It is not the sun approaching you, it is your face turning toward it, as if you've been asleep in the arms of the dark, and the earth gently lifts your chin back toward the glow. That movement is not metaphor, it is physics, and it is beautiful. Even the birds know it. They wake not to the sun but to the change, to the slow rotation of shadow becoming light. Flowers open not because of heat, but because the earth turns them toward warmth. Entire ecosystems are tuned to this rotation, and you, even asleep, are part of it. There's something comforting in knowing the world will keep turning whether or not you're awake. That motion doesn't need your permission. That gravity holds you tight while space spins around you. You can surrender to it. Trust it. Let go of control and simply be carried, like a leaf on a river too wide to see. This spin, this rotation, also protects you. The magnetic field that shields the planet from solar wind, it's generated by the spinning molten core beneath your feet. Without that motion, radiation would strip the air from the sky. But because the earth spins, because it moves, you are wrapped in safety, in invisible armor. The atmosphere, too, clings to this motion. It moves with the earth, like a soft envelope, which is why you don't feel the wind rushing past your ears at 1,000 miles an hour. You are inside the motion, part of the turning. Everything moves with you. The air, the clouds, the light, and so it feels like you are still. But you are not. Right now, even as your toes relax, even as your chest rises slowly in rhythm with your breath, you are spinning toward the future. Every moment that passes is a slight shift eastward. Every thought you have is a consequence of the Earth's turning clock. And when you dream while traveling, even if your dream is of staying in place. If you could look back at the spot where you first fell asleep tonight, you'd find that you are no longer there. You have rotated far across the surface, tracing an arc thousands of kilometers long. Your bed didn't move. Your room didn't move. But the ground beneath you did, carrying you in a wide, invisible spiral around the planet's axis. And tomorrow, when you wake, the sun will greet you again. Not because it rose, but because you did. Because your spinning world turned your face once more toward the light. That is the secret comfort of sleep, that you can drift away unknowing, while the world continues. That the universe moves with such smoothness, such grace that you need not feel it to be carried by it. You are never still, and you never need to be. Time as you know it does not tick with perfect rhythm. It sways, it stretches, it bends to light. And tonight, as you rest in the softness of your bed, wrapped in stillness that hides invisible movements, time itself is being shaped by something you cannot touch. Light, moving through space, folding the hours around itself. You think of time as a straight path, something you walk through moment by moment. But time is not a hallway, it is a river, and light swims through it differently, depending on where it goes, how fast it travels, and how close it moves to the heart of gravity. In your dreams you may imagine clocks, their hands turning, their ticking steady, but in reality, every clock runs a little differently, depending on how light touches it. High above you, on satellites orbiting the Earth, Clocks run faster than the ones down here. Not by much, a fraction of a second each day, but it's enough to matter. GPS systems must correct for this, or else your phone would lead you to the wrong street, the wrong city. Why does time move faster up there? Because gravity pulls on time. It slows it down. The deeper you are in a gravitational well, like on the Earth's surface, the slower time moves for you. Light feels this, even if you don't. Imagine a beam of light trying to climb out of a well. It slows, not in speed but in energy. Its frequency shifts. Its color reddens, not because it's tired, but because time itself moves differently at different depths. The light knows, and in response time bends. This isn't theory. It's truth, proven, measured, repeated. And yet, it feels like poetry. That time something we think of as rigid responds to the dance of photons and planets. That time listens to light and lets itself be shaped. You, lying quietly now, are moving through time at a rate completely unique to your place in the universe. The further you are from Earth's gravity, the faster your seconds would pass. If you climbed a mountain and waited, your watch would record just a little more time than someone waiting at sea level. Over centuries it would add up. You could age differently, live differently, remember differently. And light does not just shape time, it keeps it. Atomic clocks, the most precise instruments humans have ever built, work by measuring the vibrations of electrons, vibrations triggered by light. The ticking of these clocks is a song sung by light particles. Your time is measured in photon music. Einstein once wondered, what if you could ride a beam of light? What would you see? What would you feel? If you could ride alongside a photon, the world would become strange. Time would stop for you. Everything would freeze, not in ice, but in sequence. The entire life of the universe would happen around you, and yet to you no time would pass at all. You would move through space endlessly, and from your perspective, instantaneously, you would become timeless. And yet, light is not eternal. It travels, it weakens, it bends, it can be absorbed, reflected, slowed. It is not a god, it is a servant, carrying messages from one part of the cosmos to another, whispering time's changes to all who will listen. Your own body feels time, even when your mind does not. Circadian rhythms, hormone cycles, neural patterns, all tuned not just to darkness and light, but to the timing of light, when it arrives, how long it stays, what angle it enters your eye. Morning light feels different than evening light, not because of color alone, but because of how your cells perceive its timing. Time is written in your biology, and light is the pen. Dreams, too, follow time. But their time is elastic, minutes stretch, hours shrink. A single blink can become a memory that lasts for pages. In dreams you move in time shaped not by clocks, but by emotion, by impression. And when you wake, the sunlight pouring through the window reminds you that the real world also has a timeline, one shaped by gravity and speed and light. There is a strange comfort in knowing that time is not universal, that it flexes around motion, mass, and light. It means that the universe is not ruled by a single cold metronome. It breathes. It adjusts. It allows for softness. Two people, standing side by side, can experience time slightly differently. One might move a little more, climb a little higher, or sleep a little deeper, and their internal clock will shift. They may never feel it, but the difference is there. The universe keeps a personal time for each of us. Even the light on your wall, as it fades into dusk, is a measurement. It tells you how far the earth has turned, how thick the atmosphere is, how long it has been since the sun began its slow descent. Every photon carries a timestamp, a clue to when it left, where it's been, and what it passed on the way. If you could catch a single photon in your hand and ask it what it has seen, it would answer, everything and nothing, because to light, there is no waiting, no past, no future, only motion, only travel, only the moment of impact when it becomes heat on your skin, or vision in your eye, or memory in your mind. Time bends for light, and because of that, time bends for you. So tonight, as the seconds drip quietly around you, know that you are not trapped in a fixed rhythm. You are floating in a sea of gentle distortions. And the clock you hear ticking, it does not tick the same for everyone. It does not tick the same even for you, moment to moment. Your time is yours, and light, loyal as always, is there to help you measure it. One photon at a time. The clock that ran slower near the stars wasn't broken. It was obeying a deeper truth, one hidden from ordinary life, but etched into the universe's fabric. When you move faster, time slows down. When you draw near a heavy mass, time stretches. Not in feeling, not in imagination, but in measurement. Time is not a fixed current. It's a fluid that bends around gravity and speed. Light doesn't just carry this truth. It reveals it. Imagine standing on a distant mountain, high above sea level. Another version of you remains at the shore. You both hold identical clocks. They tick in perfect unison as you begin. But slowly, so slowly it takes extraordinary instruments to notice. Your clock begins to move faster, just slightly. You age a fraction more. The altitude, the lesser gravity, lets time slide past you more freely. Not enough to matter in your day, not enough to alter your breath or your sleep, but over centuries it accumulates. You and your twin at sea level would diverge. And this divergence is not fantasy, it's physics. The same happens aboard satellites. Far above in the thin embrace of space, GPS satellites orbit with clocks that tick faster than those on Earth. Without correcting for this, without recognizing that time moves differently depending on location, our maps, directions, and digital lives would spiral into chaos. You find your way through cities because we understand how time bends, and light, always traveling, always responding, is what lets us measure that bend. Now imagine a spaceship, not just hovering, but moving, fast, close to light speed. As you accelerate, your body feels it, but your clock feels more. It begins to slow, not to malfunction but to sync with the universe's deeper rule. The faster you go, the slower your internal seconds pass. If you raced away for years, near the speed of light and returned, the world would have aged far more than you. Time passed differently for you because you moved, and light, trying to reach you, saw that distance in time differently than others did. This is not science fiction. This is called time dilation, a fact predicted by Einstein, confirmed by experiment, and built into the systems that quietly hold up modern life. Muons, subatomic particles raining down from space, should decay before reaching Earth's surface, but they don't. Because they are moving so fast, their clocks run slower, they live longer, they reach the ground. Light witnesses it all. You too experience your own time dilation, though minuscule. When you run, when you climb, when you sleep at altitude, your time shifts ever so slightly. You are living a personalized rhythm, one shaped by movement and gravity. Your experience of now is always yours alone. Consider the International Space Station. Astronauts aboard it experience time at a different rate than those on the surface. Their clocks, monitored with stunning precision, shift by tiny amounts. Light, the ever-faithful messenger, records this. We can see the difference. The more we measure, the more we understand that time is not a ruler, it's a canvas. And every gravitational source, every motion leaves a ripple on it. And what of black holes? These monstrous objects pull time like syrup. As you approach one, time slows so dramatically that to a distant observer, you never quite fall in. You hover on the edge, frozen. But to you, inside your own frame, time moves normally. You feel nothing different. Light, though, tells the story. It stretches, reddens, loses energy. It flees if it can, and if it cannot, it is trapped. Even time becomes irrelevant inside. A singularity is not a place. It is the destruction of sequence. You don't need to go to a black hole to feel these things. Just knowing them changes how you see the world. The lamp beside your bed, casting light onto your pillow, is doing more than illumination. It's whispering the speed at which time moves for your skin. It's letting photons travel across that space in just the right delay to remind you. Even here in this quiet room, time is flexible. It means that memories, those soft containers of your life, are stored in a substance that bends. What felt like a long night might have been only an hour. What felt like an instant might have been an entire afternoon. Emotion, speed, gravity, location. They all warp the shape of time inside your mind. Light reflects those memories and gently offers you the truth. There is no one timeline, only many threads woven loosely by circumstance and observation. The next time you see a sunset, when the colors stretch across the sky in soft pastels, know that you're not just watching a star dip below the horizon. You're watching light bend through layers of atmosphere, carrying with it delays, curvatures, time itself. The sun is already gone from that position. You are seeing where it was, not where it is. Even the colors are proof of delay. Blues scattered away, reds stretched longer through thick air. It is time, refracted through distance. In your dreams you are weightless. Unbound by seconds, you shift locations, ideas, emotions, as if time were yours to mold. And in a sense it is, because your mind, like light, does not travel in perfect straight lines. It curves, it adjusts, it pauses in the gravity of grief, or rushes forward in the velocity of joy. And those bends in your inner timeline are just as real as those made by stars and planets. Time ran slower near the stars, not because they wanted it so, but because mass tells space-time how to bend, and bending shapes the flow of moments. The stars sing their rhythm, and light listens. And tonight, as your breath evens out, and your body softens into sleep, you are bending time too, just slightly, just enough for the universe to notice. Light's path through memory is never straight. It curls, it scatters, it lingers in the corners of your mind. Not as facts, but as impressions. A glow on someone's face. The shimmer of morning through a curtain. The final color of sunset before sleep. These memories aren't recorded in words. They're recorded in photons, in the way light met you once and changed your inner sky forever. You might not remember the exact date you first saw the ocean, but you remember how it looked, silver and endless, or maybe blue and loud, depending on the hour, the weather, the light. The image is soft, blurred not by time, but by the way your brain prioritizes meaning. Light is what gave it color, and time is what gave it distance. But memory is what makes it stay. In the brain, light and memory have always been tangled. Your earliest visions, even before you had language, were illuminated by light. It was the tool your eyes used to gather the world. A beam of sunlight on a parent's shoulder, a ceiling fan spinning in golden dusk, a window frosted with moonlight. These images are stitched into you, not because you chose them, but because light delivered them during moments when you were soft, open, absorbent. And because of that, your memories are not neutral, they are lit. Sometimes, a single shaft of light in the present, filtered through leaves, or spilling across a wooden floor, can unlock something hidden. Not a thought, but a feeling. A recognition. The body remembers things long before the mind catches up. The angle of light, the color of it, the way it touches objects. These things bring back past moments in strange and beautiful ways. Memory isn't stored in drawers, it's stored in echoes, and light creates those echoes. Even in sleep, your dreams are lit, some softly, like twilight underwater, others sharply, with shadows that mean something. The brain does not paint in darkness. It creates internal light, borrowed from reality, shaped by experience. Every dream has a light source, a logic, a cast of glow and gloom that feels familiar, even if the setting does not. And when we remember, we replay those internal projections, not just what happened but how it looked. And behind that look, always is the question, where was the light? What angle did it come from? How long did it stay? Photographs are a human attempt to preserve this truth, to capture not just a scene but the quality of light in that scene. A birthday cake under warm kitchen bulbs, a loved one backlit by a car window, a first snowfall lit by the blue hush of morning. These images feel powerful, not because of their subjects, but because of the light that witnessed them. And even when memory fades, light leaves behind outlines. You may not remember the details of a moment, what you wore, what was said, but you might remember the way the sky looked, the way the room glowed, the way someone's eyes held starlight. These fragments are light's handwriting across the pages of your inner archive. Even grief has its light. You remember loss not as darkness, but as changed illumination. A room that felt colder, a sky that dimmed. The absence of someone often feels like the absence of light. And joy. Joy is brightness. Not metaphorically, biologically. Moments of happiness activate parts of the brain that heighten visual processing. The world appears clearer, sharper, more colorful. This is why time and light are inseparable in memory, because memory is not chronological. It's emotional, and light is often the first emotion your senses process. The golden hue of safety, the deep blue of loneliness, the harsh white of panic, the soft pink of love. Light carries these feelings into the vaults of your mind. Even trauma, held deep within the nervous system, is encoded with visual fragments, flashes, blurs, shadows. The body remembers the color of the room, the shape of the hallway, the flicker of a bulb. Healing often comes when we slowly relight those memories with new meaning, letting in brightness where once there was only fear. And light, patient and unjudging, is always willing to return. It shows up in therapy rooms, in walks at sunset, in quiet conversations on porches. It shows up when you least expect it, in reflections on water, in neon signs, in the folds of a curtain. It says, "You stir, still here. You stir, still seeing, and I stir, still traveling." It's hard to say what memory truly is, whether it's a storage of facts or a reconstruction of feelings. But it's safe to say that whatever it is, it would be impossible without light. Light teaches your brain what to notice, what to keep. It outlines the moments that matter. It softens the ones that hurt. And when memory slips, when it becomes harder to recall, light steps in as proxy. You walk through an old neighborhood and feel the light shift, and suddenly you remember the way things used to be, not in perfect detail, but in tone, in ambiance, in atmosphere. You remember how it felt to be you. Even music has light in it, not literally, but in association. A song might conjure a moment, not because of the lyrics, but because of what the light looked like when you first heard it. Bright headlights on a road trip, the golden pool of a dance hall, the flashing colors of a festival. Light embeds itself in every layer of sense memory. Tonight, as you rest, your mind may begin to drift, not into fiction, but into memories, and those memories will likely come with light. Scenes from childhood, faces long gone, a chair in a room, a tree near a window. Light will guide these recollections gently across your consciousness, not to awaken you, but to soothe you, to remind you that you are a keeper of the past. And that light, through time, through space, through you, remembers everything. You do not need to hold every memory. Light holds some for you. And as you drift further into sleep, you may feel that light curling softly behind your eyes, showing you not just where you've been, but who you've been. There is a limit to how fast anything can move, not because of friction or resistance or lack of fuel, but because the universe itself has rules that no one can break. And the fastest thing allowed, the ultimate speed in all of existence, is the speed of light. Nothing with mass can reach it. Nothing can go faster. This limit is not a suggestion. It is woven into the shape of time and space. You lie still now, your breath slow and steady, but the particles inside you are never truly at rest. They vibrate, jostle, collide, their dance shaped by heat and energy. Even if you could somehow accelerate every part of your being forward, trying to approach light's pace, you would discover something strange. The faster you move, the heavier you become. Not in weight, but in energy. The universe resists your push. It tells you, softly but firmly, this far, no farther. And yet light moves without effort. It does not strain, it does not sweat, it does not even experience time the way you do. For a photon, there is no in-between. The moment it leaves a source, it is already arriving somewhere else. To you, it might have taken years, centuries, millennia, but to the photon, there was no wait. It existed only in departure and arrival, a two-point journey across a timeline it does not feel. The speed of light, roughly 299,792 kilometers per second, is not just a number. It is the framework upon which everything else balances. Distances in astronomy are measured by it. GPS calculations are based on it. Even color, that most personal of sensations, is determined by how fast the electromagnetic wave wiggles as it races at light speed. Light doesn't just define speed, it defines reality. You might think, why should this matter as I lie here drifting towards sleep? Because this limit, this gentle, invisible barrier, gives the universe its shape. It gives time its rhythm. It gives space its texture. Without it, there would be no causality, no before or after, no reliable sense of here or there. The speed of light acts as the cosmic traffic law, not to slow things down, but to protect the order of things. Without it, everything would happen at once. And so, in a very real way, light keeps the story of the universe from unraveling. It keeps events spaced out, moments from colliding. It gives you time to process what is seen, what is felt. It allows for progression, for one thing to follow another. If information could travel faster than light, you might receive answers before questions, see shadows before their source, hear echoes before the sound. The world would no longer be narratable. It would be chaos. Because of light's speed limit, you can see stars as they were, not as they are. And that delay gives you perspective. It reminds you how far things are, how old they are, how connected everything is through time and space. When you look up, you are not just seeing light, you are seeing time in transit. And that limit has another gift. Mystery. There are parts of the universe you can never reach, not because they are gone, but because their light will never arrive. They are too far, receding too fast, lost beyond the horizon of observation. These places are not empty. They are simply hidden, locked away not behind walls but behind speed. The universe is not just vast in distance, it is vast in delay. You are surrounded by light right now, in every direction, on every scale. Even your body glows, ever so faintly, in the infrared. Heat is light, warmth is photons, and yet none of it moves faster than that cosmic limit. It's as if the universe wants to remind you, all things take time. Even thinking has a speed. Your neurons fire at a pace that allows you to reflect, to remember, to dream, faster than some processes, slower than light, but all obeying the same foundational limit. Your mind may wander quickly, skipping from idea to idea, but even thought requires time. Synapses need fractions of seconds to close. Images need delays to form. Emotions need moments to settle. Your consciousness is a chorus of tiny delays singing in harmony with the rest of the cosmos. Sleep, too, unfolds in tempo. You don't drop into dreams instantly. You fall gently, through layers, alpha, theta, delta, each with its own waves, its own timing. And within those waves electrical signals fire, guided by laws of speed and connection. Your dreaming self is not timeless. It moves through a slowed, softened version of light speed limits, shaped by biology, but echoing physics. And because nothing can go faster than light, you are always bound to the now. You cannot skip ahead. You cannot leap across time like a photon. But that is not a loss. That is a gift. It means you live in sequence. It means every moment is meaningful, because it cannot be rushed. If you were to shine a flashlight across the room, you might think it fills the space instantly, but it doesn't. Those photons travel, quickly, yes, but with distance and time. If your room were large enough, you could measure the delay. If your eye were fast enough, you could watch the beam walk across the wall. But instead, it feels instant. The illusion is comforting. The truth is more beautiful. There is a kind of reverence in having a universal limit. It humbles even the stars. It keeps every planet, every wave, every atom in conversation. No one speaks out of turn. No one arrives before their time. Even galaxies cannot defy it. And so here you are, warm, resting, surrounded by a world shaped by this one quiet rule. Light may seem fast, but it is also fair. It moves at the same speed for everyone. Whether you are in motion or still, near or far, light treats you with the same grace. It carries truth, slowly enough for you to receive it. Tonight the stars are still sending their messages. The photons are still on their way, and while you sleep those particles will cross the void, unhurried, unchanged, to land on your planet, your skin, your eyelids. They've obeyed the speed limit the whole way. They've waited to meet you. Because nothing meaningful ever arrives without traveling. Why you can't catch a photon is not about your speed. It's about the fabric of reality. You can chase after light for as long as you want, but you will never catch it. Not in a car, not in a rocket, not in any imaginable machine. And the reason is not because light is fast. It's because light is different. It does not behave like the objects around you. It doesn't belong to the same category of things you touch, lift, or throw. A photon is a messenger, but one with a strange rule. It must always move at the same speed, no matter what. This alone bends logic, because in your world, things slow down or speed up depending on how you move. If you run toward a car, its headlights seem to approach faster. If you move away, they seem to stretch, but not to light itself. Light doesn't care about your direction. It doesn't care how fast you're going. From its point of view, if it could have one, the universe is frozen, all distance gone. That's why you can never reach it. You could build the fastest ship ever imagined, accelerate to 90% the speed of light, then 99%, then 99.999%. And still, as far as light is concerned, it would be ahead of you, not by force, but by the rules that shape the universe. Because every time you try to go faster, something happens. Time slows for you. Space compresses in front of you. The energy needed to go faster increases. But your progress toward the speed of light flattens. You get closer, but never arrive. You are trapped in a kind of asymptotic pursuit. Every step takes more than the last. Every gain costs more energy. The closer you get to light, the more the universe pulls you into its strange defense. Not violently, but firmly. It's not a wall you crash into. It's a boundary that reshapes everything about you before you can cross. There's a kind of humility in this limit. The fastest possible thing is not a human invention. It is a cosmic ceiling, always above you, impossible to breach. And yet, it makes everything possible. It draws the line between matter and energy, between now and next, between memory and sight. To a photon there is no journey. There's only immediacy. And this creates a strange contrast. You, the slow creature, made of atoms and thoughts and motion, are always moving through time. You age, you wait, you wonder. But light? It does not age. It does not wait. It exists in transit and nowhere else. When sunlight touches your skin, that photon began its journey thousands of years ago, not from the surface of the sun, but from deep within it. It took that long to fight its way through the dense plasma, but once it escaped the surface, 8 minutes, and it lands here, on your shoulder, as if it had been waiting just for you. You cannot catch it. But you can feel it. You can witness its story. The warmth on your skin, the shimmer on glass, the flicker in a candle. Light surrounds you because it is always leaving something and arriving somewhere. It is the eternal traveler, and its refusal to slow down is what makes your world visible. Even the colors you see are tied to how light moves. Blue light wiggles faster than red, not in speed but in frequency. That's why blue skies seem sharp and red. Sunsets feel stretched. The light has been scattered, filtered, worn thin by atmosphere. You're seeing the struggle of photons to reach you, and each one arrives with a fingerprint, a history. And what of the idea that one day you might reach light speed? It's tempting, the dream of becoming pure energy, of shedding mass, of flying faster than time. But mass is what anchors you. To accelerate something with mass to the speed of light would take infinite energy. Not lots, not an unimaginable amount, truly infinite. A price that cannot be paid. This isn't sipped a punishment. It sips protection. The universe does not allow you to catch up with photons, because doing so would break causality. You would see events before they happened. You would be older and younger than yourself at the same time. Your memories would unwrite themselves. Your heartbeat would have no rhythm. There would be no cause, no effect, just a chaos of moments. And so you remain in your proper place, watching light, measuring it, following it, letting it guide you. Your eyes, in fact, are photon catchers, not in the sense of speed, but in the sense of end. Every image you see is a photon completing its journey, dying in a way so that you can see color, shape, movement. Each point of light in your room right now is a message that began somewhere and ended with you. You may not be able to chase it, but you can open your eyes to receive it. Think of how strange this is. If you shine a flashlight forward in a speeding train, the beam does not go faster than light. It moves at the same speed it always does. To you on the train, and to someone watching from outside, this is the only speed that is the same for everyone. No matter how you move, no matter where you stand, light refuses to shift. This rule reshapes time and space around it. It defines the very nature of reality, and while you are bound by it, unable to move faster, you are also protected by it. Your moments can remain in order. Your past remains behind you. Your future waits patiently ahead. And all the while, photons move. Across cities, across galaxies, through windows and mirrors and water and skin, each one moving at the one true speed the universe allows. You will never catch one, but you are never without them. They land on your face. They glide through your room. They enter your dreams. And even now, as your thoughts slow, as your body begins to float in the gentle gravity of sleep, light continues to pass through the world around you, unnoticed, uninterrupted, and perfectly timed. What if you reached the edge? Not a cliff or a wall, not some physical boundary you could touch, but the edge of speed itself, the edge where motion becomes something else entirely. You've spent your whole life surrounded by the idea of acceleration, of moving faster, reaching more, chasing the next. But what if the limit wasn't just a number? What if reaching the speed of light meant losing the very thing that makes you whoa? Imagine, gently now, that you could travel at the speed of light, not by machine, not in a rocket, but in essence, that somehow your being could exist at that velocity. You would not just move quickly, you would become something else. Your mass would vanish. Time for you would stop. There would be no past, no future, no memory, no anticipation, only a frozen, eternal now. This is not just theory, it's what physics predicts. At the speed of light, distance shrinks to zero, time dilates to infinity, and with it, every thought you've ever had about sequence and consequence, cause and effect, begins to dissolve. Light has no frame of reference. It does not experience time, it does not age. A photon that leaves a star and reaches your eye a billion years later does so in its own eternity. For it, there was no journey, no wait, no change. To reach the edge of that experience, to come so close to the speed of light that you could feel its silence, is to approach the breakdown of all that defines motion. Even Einstein, when imagining such things, knew they were paradoxical. The moment you try to reach light's speed, the universe resists. Mass increases, energy requirements climb, and time, your oldest companion, begins to stretch like a dream. There sips a beauty to that resistance. It means you are part of something delicate, something structured. You are allowed to move, to change, to grow, but always within the bounds of time. You are never frozen, never infinite. And though that may seem like a limit, it is also a mercy, because to move at the speed of light is to move without memory, without before, without after, and so without story. But story is how you exist. You remember. You hope. You fall asleep with questions and wake with answers. You live in chapters, in days, in seasons, in years. You walk forward through time because time has space to stretch around you, and it stretches because you are not light. You are slower, and so you are real. Even the stars need time. They burn for millions, even billions of years, sending out light that takes ages to arrive. That delay is not a flaw, it is the mechanism by which connection becomes possible. If all things happened instantly, they would blur. If light did not take time, you could never look back into the past. There would be no history, no echoes, no reason to look up. But because light takes time, because it respects the boundaries of speed, you can trace your way backward through the sky. You can see stars as they were, galaxies as they formed, the cosmic microwave background itself, a snapshot of the early universe, still glowing in the microwave spectrum, still traveling. To reach the edge of light's domain is not to arrive, it's to vanish. You would become like the photon, without rest, without change. The very things that make you human would fall away. There would be no heartbeat, because there would be no time between beats, no thoughts, because thought requires delay, no presence, because presence demands a boundary between before and after. You think of speed as progress, as power, but light reminds you that speed is not always freedom. Sometimes, slowing down is what creates meaning. It is the pause between moments that lets a memory form. It is the distance between events that gives them shape. It is the breath between words that gives speech its rhythm. And so you remain where you are, moving not at light speed but at life speed. The earth turns. The sun rises, light arrives. And in that delay, in that perfect slowness, everything becomes possible. Laughter, learning, longing, sleep. You exist not in spite of light's limit, but because of it. Even now as you begin to drift, light continues its journey, across your ceiling, along your skin, into the distance. And somewhere far away, a photon is just beginning its trip toward you. It will not arrive tonight, or even in your lifetime, but it is coming. And when it does, it will arrive with news of a place that no longer exists, and yet somehow still reaches you. That is what happens at the edge. Not silence, not nothing, but the slow unfolding of stories that took billions of years to write, traveling just under the speed of impossibility, so they could arrive when you were finally ready to see them. Einstein once asked a simple question, the kind a child might ask before falling asleep. What would it be like to chase a beam of light? And in that question, something extraordinary unfolded. An idea that shook the very walls of physics, that bent time and space into something pliable, emotional, alive. But before it became theory, before it became equation, it was just a thought, a wondering, a soft imagining of a ride beside light. So now, close your eyes gently and imagine with him. Imagine what it would feel like if your body could dissolve into motion, if your feet lifted from the earth, and your molecules aligned not for weight, but for speed, not running, not flying, but becoming momentum itself, becoming velocity, until the world around you blurred not into sound, but into silence. At first it would feel like flight, familiar, maybe even joyful. The wind would pull away behind you. Clouds would flatten. The sun would seem to stretch sideways. You would feel faster than everything, until you noticed something strange. Time itself was beginning to hesitate. A clock you wore would tick slower than the one you passed. The heartbeat you once knew would drag, and yet you would feel nothing odd at all. To you, time would feel normal. Only the world outside would begin to shift. As you accelerated, faster, faster, toward the speed of light, the very nature of space would change. Ahead of you, the distance would collapse. The stars would crowd into a narrow point. Colors would shift. Blue would deepen to violet, then into ultraviolet. Eventually, even light itself would go dark to your human eyes. Not because it stopped shining, but because it passed beyond what your vision could interpret. Darkness, in this moment, would be a matter of speed, not shadow. You would become lighter in weight, but heavier in energy. The universe would resist you softly, but relentlessly. As you drew closer to the sacred barrier of light speed, your mass would swell toward infinity, not physically, not in any way you could feel, but mathematically, gravitationally. To reach light speed, you'd need more than energy. You'd need the whole universe's permission. But still you would chase, not because you expect to catch it, but because the chasing itself reveals something, that light is not just speed. It is the architecture of reality. It is what space listens to, what time kneels before. And so to chase it is not to run faster, but to peel back the illusion that time and distance are constants. They are not. They stretch like soft fabric beneath your feet. As you near the speed of light, your surroundings would become impossibly thin. 1,000 kilometers would flatten into a whisper. Stars would flicker in odd directions, no longer obeying your memory of constellations. The universe would fold inward. The edge of your perception, that line where visibility ends, would no longer be curved. It would be sharp, finite, pressing in on you like a tunnel. And just before you reach it, that shimmering edge where mass would become light, where time would stop, something stops you, not violently, not with force, but with truth. There is no becoming light, not for matter, not for memory, not for minds. You are made of seconds and sequences. You are made of breath, which needs pause, and thought, which needs delay. Light has no breath, no pause, no time. If you could become light, you would stop existing in any meaningful way. You would have no past or future. You would experience no arrival, no departure. You would exist only in trajectory, a path with no awareness of beginning or end. And that is not what it means to live. To live is to wait, to change, to remember, to feel the gap between the moment you long for and the moment it arrives. Einstein never caught that beam of light, but he held it in his imagination, long enough to see what the world would look like if he did. And from that quiet question came revelations, relativity, curvature of space-time, the understanding that even gravity is not a force but a warping of time around mass. And all of it began with a childlike thought: what if I could ride that beam? Even now, as you lie in stillness, your mind rides with him, not at the speed of light, but at the speed of wonder. You do not have to move to chase light. You can think, you can imagine, and sometimes that is more powerful than motion, because when you chase light with your body, the universe resists. But when you chase it with your thoughts, it opens. Your body at light speed would no longer be yours. It begins subtly at first, not with explosions, not with drama, but with silence. As you accelerate, as you inch closer to the speed limit of the universe, the familiar laws that shaped your sense of self begin to bend. The heartbeat that once ticked with soothing regularity begins to hesitate. Your sense of distance shrinks. Your body, once a container of sensations, becomes something else. An object, yes, but no longer one that plays by earthly rules. Speed changes things. Not just how fast you arrive, but what arriving means. The faster you go, the more the universe distorts around you. A second for you is not a second for the person watching. A meter for you becomes shorter. The fabric of the world is not fixed. It is folded by your movement, and your body is caught in that fold. At 90% the speed of light, your mass increases. Your length contracts. You do not notice it. To you, everything feels normal. But to someone watching, you have become compressed, pulled taut like a ribbon stretched through space-time. At 99%, those effects are more extreme. Time for you passes slowly. You live longer. Everything outside of you rushes forward. Generations blink by. Stars are born and die in the time it takes you to speak a sentence. At 99.99%, the strangeness becomes total. The outside world disappears into a blur. Light, once so soft, becomes unbearable. Even the black of space begins to glow, a phenomenon known as blue shift. Photons, crashing into your vessel, pile up in energy. What was once gentle starlight becomes lethal radiation. The vacuum around you begins to burn with invisible heat. Your body, built for slow air and soft gravity, begins to fracture, not from speed but from the rules that define speed. You were not made for this. Inside your cells, atoms hold their structure because of balance between nuclear forces and electric ones, between motion and mass. But at light speed, those relationships twist. Electrons grow heavier, orbits wobble, bonds stretch and strain. Your chemistry begins to warp. You no longer metabolize time the way you used to. The sequence of your life, wake, eat, breathe, sleep, unravels. You have not left behind your humanity. It has been pulled from you piece by piece, by the very force you tried to match. You are becoming light, but imperfectly. And what of your perception? Your thoughts? To think is to allow signals to travel from neuron to neuron, along axons across synapses. But even these signals, like everything else, are subject to time. They need space to cross and seconds to pass. But if time slows enough, what happens to a thought? If a feeling arises inside you but the moments required to recognize it are stretched infinitely wide, does the feeling still exist, or is it lost in transit? Your body at light speed is not a body. It is a shadow of a body, a potential stretched across a frame that can no longer carry it. You would not survive. But more curiously, you would not feel the not surviving, because there would be no moment in which to notice, no next moment at all. And yet, something lingers. Because while you cannot become light, you are already shaped by it. Your body is made of particles that once traveled at near light speeds. Cosmic rays that struck the earth, fused atoms, built stars, broke apart to become you. The light of the sun powers your cells. The photons released from your skin, your body's heat, travel endlessly outward, carrying fragments of your existence into space. You are always in dialogue with light, even now, at rest. But the moment you try to become it, to chase it with your atoms, the rules change. It spits not punishment, it spits preservation. Light's nature is to move freely. It cannot carry mass, it cannot pause, it cannot rest. It can only go, always at the same speed, always at the edge of time. If your body were to reach that limit, it would have to give up too much. Memory, shape, rhythm, intention. These are slow things, earthbound things. And they are beautiful because of that slowness. Even your breath right now follows a rhythm shaped by delay. A cycle of inhale and exhale that lets you feel. Every sense you know, sight, touch, hearing, taste, relies on pauses, on timing, on sequence. If all of these happened at once, if your body became timeless, you would lose experience itself. To be at light speed is to be without becoming. You would no longer be in a moment. You would be between all moments. You would no longer witness light. You would be part of its wave, indistinguishable from the thing you once chased. But there would be no joy in this, because joy needs time, and you would have none. And so the universe, gently, protects you. It slows you down. It keeps you at a pace where thoughts can form, where emotions can rise and fall, where love can arrive slowly and be remembered later. You were not built for constant motion. You were built for rhythm, for day and night, for wake and sleep, for the long shape of a lifetime. Tonight, your body is still, but light continues to pass through you, reflect from you, dance along the air around you. It does not stop. It cannot. And that's okay, because your job is not to catch it. Your job is to live slowly enough to feel it. A place where time no longer moves is not empty. It is not silent. It is not cold. It is not even dark. It is something stranger. It is a space that defies what your body has always trusted. It is a place beyond rhythm, beyond pacing, beyond pause, where the universe itself folds inward, and the unfolding of one moment into the next ceases to happen. You've heard of time standing still, as a metaphor, as a feeling, in a moment of awe, of love, of loss. But this is not a feeling. This is literal. At the speed of light, time, as measured by a ticking clock, a beating heart, a moving hand, disappears. Not gradually, not slowly, but completely. If somehow your consciousness could be frozen inside a beam of light, you would never know when you began. You would never arrive. You would never become. You would only be and be and be in one unchanging moment. This is what the universe whispers at the edge of its limits. Not silence, but stasis. Not death, but removal from time's gentle current. The place where time no longer moves is not somewhere you travel to. It is something you become by surrendering your identity as matter. A photon, racing from a star to your eye, does not age. It does not carry with it a clock. It does not mark a journey in seconds. And yet, from your perspective, that same photon may have traveled for millions, even billions of years. Imagine that. A photon released from the surface of a star in a galaxy so distant, its light began moving toward you before your planet had even formed. And only tonight, quietly, invisibly, it arrives, ending its journey on your skin or your bedsheet, or the window beside your resting head. You see its story stretched across eons, but to the photon, there was no journey at all. It simply left, and it arrived. That place, that state of being outside of time, is not something to fear, but it is something to revere. It marks the boundary between existence as you know it, and the unknowable realm where change is meaningless. A place without memory, without progression, without cause and effect. Your life is made of causes and effects. You wake because you slept. You dream because you have memory. You hope because something hasn't happened yet. All of these require time, require change, require the spacing out of moments like pearls on a string. But in the realm of the photon there is no string. There is no spacing. There is no before or after. Everything is always now. And what would that even feel like? Perhaps nothing. Perhaps the concept of feeling itself evaporates. Feeling requires time, the rise of emotion, the fall of breath, the pulse of presence. If all things were compressed into a single, unending instant, there would be no space for recognition, for choice, for sensation. You would not be trapped. There would be no you left to trap. And yet, in that very place, the universe moves. Light exists there. Photons are born there, die there, reflect there. They move through a reality we cannot truly understand, because we are too slow. We are made of molecules that must settle into patterns. We are made of cells that must reproduce. We are made of time, but light is not. Still, you are connected to it. Light defines your vision, your temperature, your circadian rhythm, your inner clock. It wakes you in the morning, signals the hours of the day, and slowly fades as night tells your body to rest. You are a creature sculpted by light's behavior, by its rhythms, and so, by extension, you are shaped by the very speed you can never reach. To live is to stretch out between two boundaries. The immobility of the past and the infinite velocity of light. Between those extremes is you breathing, blinking, moving through time just slowly enough to make meaning. You are not stuck in place. You are gliding through seconds like a leaf caught in a gentle river current. And in that river, you build your story, one frame at a time. But if you reached the speed of light, the river would disappear. There would be no frames, no film, no flicker, just a blank screen of total simultaneity. A moment where the first line and the last line of your life happened at once. Which is why the universe, in its quiet brilliance, never lets you reach it. Because you are not meant to be frozen. You are meant to change. You are meant to feel the slow unraveling of sleep, the slow gathering of a thought, the slow softening of night into dream. Even now, as you lie here, your muscles letting go, your mind loosening from the grip of awareness, you are falling through time. And that falling is a gift, not just because it moves you toward morning, but because it moves you at all. You are not a photon. You are not meant to skip the middle. You are meant to live in it. The place where time no longer moves is beautiful. Yes, but it is not home. Why light doesn't travel straight is not just a matter of direction. It's a matter of space itself being curved. You've grown up thinking of light as a line, a beam that extends outward like a ruler in the dark, sharp and absolute. But light does not choose a path. It follows the shape of the world it travels through, and the world, the universe, is not flat. It bends, it folds, it warps beneath the weight of everything that has mass. Tonight, as you rest beneath your ceiling, the photons that pass through your window seem to fall in a clean path, like threads of gold drawn by invisible hands. But if the earth were heavier, if you were closer to a black hole or a dense star, those same threads would curve, wrap, spiral, like water down a drain. Not because the light changes its mind, but because space tells it to curve. Einstein called this the bending of space-time. Not metaphorically, literally. Gravity is not a force pulling things down. It is a curve in the stage they move upon. The earth bends space around it. So do you, so does everything. And light, loyal as always, responds. Imagine light like a marble on a trampoline. If you place a heavy ball in the center, the fabric sags. Roll your marble, and it no longer moves in a straight line. It curves toward the heavy center. But the marble is not choosing to turn. It is obeying the shape of its world. Light does the same. This bending is not something you notice in everyday life. The curve caused by the earth is small, but in the vastness of space, with suns the size of cities and black holes dense as thought itself, the bending is dramatic. Light can orbit, it can spiral, it can be captured, looped, bent into rings we call gravitational lenses. And through this bending we see things we were never meant to see. In 1919, during a solar eclipse, scientists photographed stars that appeared to be in the wrong place. Not because they had moved, but because their light had bent around the sun. It was proof, for the first time, that light does not always travel straight. It travels obediently, following the curve of the cosmos, like a child tracing a path with their finger, and in doing so, it revealed that the universe is not rigid, but flexible. Even now, while you sleep, this bending is happening everywhere. The light from distant galaxies arcs toward Earth, not in straight lines but in sweeping curves. Some of it is focused by gravity, magnified like a lens, letting you see things far beyond what a telescope alone could catch. These distortions are not imperfections. They are clarifications, ways gravity helps you see. There are galaxies out there whose images are stretched into arcs and circles, surrounding a central object you cannot see. This is called an Einstein ring. It's not science fiction. It's the real, measurable effect of light traveling around something massive and invisible. You see the light, but not the thing doing the bending. Like footprints in snow without a walker, like ripples without a stone. And what bends light bends time too. Because time is part of space. The deeper you fall into a gravity well, the slower time runs. And light, moving through that bend, takes longer to climb out. Not because it slows down, its speed remains constant, but because the path it must travel is longer. Curved, twisted, you are not seeing a delay, you are seeing a rerouting. So when you look up at a star tonight, you are not just seeing the past, you are seeing a story told in curves, a photon that left its origin long ago, bent along the way by passing galaxies, clouds of dark matter, invisible masses yet undiscovered. Its path was not a line, it was a journey shaped by the invisible touch of weight. And in your room the bending happens too. Light from your lamp curves gently toward the floor, not enough for your eyes to notice, but enough to matter. Your own body bends the space around it, not dramatically, not in ways that make shadows curl, but in a way that light respects. You are heavy enough to matter, and light knows. This bending is not betrayal, it is devotion. Light does not resist the curve. It follows, it bends with grace. It lets the universe shape its story. And in that submission, it becomes more than a beam. It becomes a map, revealing to you where mass lies, where gravity lives, where time slows. There is something comforting in this. You do not need to see the center of gravity to know it exists. The light that bends tells you it's there, just as emotion bends your thoughts. Just as memory bends your perception, just as your dreams tonight will bend time in ways waking life cannot. You will wake having lived whole hours in a span of minutes, because the mind, like light, does not travel straight. It curves, and those curves are where the most beautiful truths hide. The shadow behind the sun is not darkness. It is revelation. You might think of shadows as absences, the places light cannot reach. But in the vast theatre of space, shadows become clues. They are not voids. They are maps. And sometimes what you cannot see tells you more than what you can. In 1919, during a solar eclipse that stretched across the sky in ghostly silence, something astonishing happened. Scientists aimed their telescopes not at the sun but at the stars behind it. Normally the sun's brightness overwhelms them. Its light floods every lens. But for a few minutes the moon stepped between us and the fire, and the blinding center of the sky went dark. And in that darkness, the stars behind the sun shifted. Not because they moved, but because their light had curved around the sun's gravity. They appeared displaced, like whispers heard from the wrong direction. And in that subtle misalignment, Einstein's theory of general relativity was confirmed. Gravity bends light. The sun, without touching a single photon, had changed their direction, had changed what we see. This was not a trick. It was a glimpse into the truth, that even the brightest objects cast invisible shadows, not of light, but of reality itself. And behind that sun, in the part of the sky you never look at, something ancient had waited for you to notice. Not just stars, but the nature of the universe. Even now that principle remains. All across space, light is being bent around things we cannot see. Black holes, galaxies, clouds of dark matter. These objects do not shine. They do not wave for attention, but they bend light like fingers around string. You know they exist, not by looking directly at them, but by seeing how everything else curves in their presence. They create shadows not of absence, but of distortion. These are gravitational shadows. They don't set to darken the sky, they distort it. And that distortion, that soft warping, becomes a window. Through it, astronomers have mapped what cannot be touched. They've seen rings of light stretched into arcs. They've found planets by the way their stars flicker as light passes them. They've charted the motion of entire galaxies by watching the dance of bent photons. You do this too, not with telescopes, but with perception. You notice tension in a room not by what is said, but by what bends. The silence between words, the shift in someone's posture, the quiet that follows a statement. These are emotional shadows. They are the gravity of feeling. And your mind, like a beam of light, curves around them. You sense them without realizing. You adjust your path, your words, your breath. You don't walk through the center of grief. You circle it. You don't stare directly into loss. You glance at the edge where memory still flickers, and in doing so you see what's really there. Not in light, but in curve. Even in your dreams you move around things you're not ready to face. You take long roads. You arrive late. You forget names, remember voices, stand in places that are both familiar and wrong. The architecture of dream is curved by feeling, and what you avoid casts a shadow, behind which something waits. Not to hurt you, but to be seen. The universe does not hide truth. It bends it. Not to deceive you, but to slow you. To ask, will you notice? The stars that shift behind the sun are not louder than others. But when you finally see them, it's as if they've been speaking the whole time. Only now you're quiet enough to hear. The same happens in your mind. A thought you've pushed aside bends the path of others. A question you avoid pulls on the answers you give. And somewhere behind your brightest thoughts is a curve. A tug, a soft gravitational lens through which all other thinking flows. You are not deceived by this. You are shaped by it. And just as scientists watch stars curve behind the sun, you can watch your own thoughts curve around feeling, around memory, around fear. You do not need to confront the center to understand what it means. Sometimes the most powerful truths live behind the blinding surface. Behind the sun, in shadow, that sector's where light becomes honest. Seeing what isn't there is something light teaches you every day, gently, quietly, and often without your awareness. You look at the world and believe you see things as they are, but most of what you perceive is not what's actually there. It's what's implied, what's bent, what's suggested by the behavior of light around things you cannot touch, cannot name, cannot fully understand. Start with the stars. You walk outside and look up. The night sky spills open like ink, scattered with glowing specks. Some of those stars are gone. Dead, exploded. Their light, still on its way to you, is a ghost. You see them, but they no longer exist. You are not looking at stars, you are looking at the last things they said. And then there are the ones hidden behind dust. Massive clouds of interstellar matter that block light in some directions, but let it through in others. These clouds do not glow, but they can be mapped by absence, like a fingerprint left by darkness. You see the way starlight bends around them, the way it dims, and from that dimming you infer something is there. This is how astronomers found dark matter. They couldn't see it. It emits no light, no heat. But galaxies spin in ways that make no sense, if only the visible matter is counted. Something unseen, something invisible, is adding mass, holding galaxies together. And the proof? Not in what we see directly, but in what the light around it does. It was the light that told the truth. You do this all the time. You walk into a room and sense that someone's mood has shifted. They haven't said a word, their face hasn't changed, but something, a hesitation, a glance, a pause in the rhythm of conversation tells you something's different. You are reading what isn't set there. And light helps you, not just metaphorically. Literally, your eyes detect micro-expressions, changes in pupil size, shifts in skin tone, not because you're trained, but because your brain has learned how to interpret the subtlest shadows, the things between things. In space, this ability becomes even more powerful. There are planets we've never seen directly, but we know they exist. We watch a star wobble slightly, pulled by an orbiting companion, or we see a tiny dip in brightness, just a fraction of a percent as a planet passes in front, a shadow on starlight, repeating like clockwork. We don't see the planet, we see its effect. Light again revealing what it cannot illuminate. Even black holes, the darkest objects in the universe, give themselves away, not by light, but by distortion, by the way they bend the background. Light from galaxies behind them stretches into rings. Gas spiraling into them glows before vanishing. You never see the hole itself. You see everything trying to escape it, everything being pulled toward the unspeakable center. And still, light lets you understand. Seeing what isn't set there also happens in time. You remember something not because you see it now, but because its trace lingers. A smell brings back a room. A sound brings back a face. A flicker of sunlight through blinds takes you to a childhood morning. The object is gone, but light has left its imprint. Memory is made of this. Not facts, not data, but echoes, curved impressions of what once existed. The way light looked on the water, the way a person turned toward you before speaking, the way the hallway stretched in late afternoon, full of warmth and silence. You are not remembering objects. You are remembering light. Even your dreams rely on seeing what isn't there. Faces you've never met, places you've never been, combinations of memory and imagination that merge into something meaningful. Your brain creates light from nothing, dreams lit by moonbeams that don't exist, windows that open onto skies you've never seen, and yet you believe, you feel, you react. Because light, even imagined, convinces you. What you see in dreams may not be there, but the feeling it gives you, the way your body responds, is real. Your pulse changes. Your breath changes. You cry, you smile. All from shadows created in your mind, from glimmers cast by neurons and longing. Light doesn't sound or need to be real to have an effect. Even in waking life, we are shaped by illusions. A mirror doesn't reflect your true self. It reverses you, bends you. You grow used to it, but you never actually see yourself as others do. The image is always filtered, by glass, by reflection, by expectation. And yet, from that not quite true image, you construct identity. You see what isn't set there, and that somehow is enough. This doesn't mean the world is a lie. It means the world is deeper than what is visible. Light lets you glimpse parts of it, and suggests the rest. Your job is not to know everything. Your job is to be open to the possibility that what you see is only a fraction of what exists. That behind every glimmer is a curve. Behind every shadow is a shape. Behind every silence is a signal. And when you lie still, like now, like this, and close your eyes, you are not shutting out the world. You are opening a new way of seeing. You are inviting the light inside, letting memory and imagination reflect what cannot be seen by the eye alone. You do not need everything to be visible. You only need to trust the ways light shows you what you're not quite ready to see. When galaxies became mirrors, the night sky stopped being a ceiling and started becoming a reflection, not just of what was out there, but of what was within you, your past, your imagination, your need to understand something infinitely large by seeing yourself in its surface. It's easy to think of mirrors as smooth, silver things that hang in bathrooms or on bedroom walls. But mirrors, in the language of light, are anything that bounces photons back in your direction, redirecting a beam, holding up an image, bending the trajectory of something that seemed to be going somewhere else. Galaxies do this, not literally, like glass, but gravitationally. They bend light, they stretch it, and in doing so, they allow you to see things you were never meant to see, objects behind them, photons that should have kept going, paused for just a moment to reflect the presence of something hidden. The Hubble Space Telescope once captured an image of a galaxy cluster known as a Bell 370. In that image, light doesn't travel straight. It arcs. It bends around invisible mass. It curls like threads of melted gold, drawing loops and rings around emptiness. This is not an illusion. It's the result of gravitational lensing, where massive objects act like mirrors for the universe. Galaxies become mirrors not by shining but by shaping the space around them. Imagine holding up a lens to the night sky and seeing through it not what's nearby but what's behind. Entire galaxies, too far to glimpse directly, become visible when their light is bent around a foreground cluster. You're not just seeing what's in front of you, you're seeing the ghost of something beyond, whispered into your eyes by distortion, by curve, by the mirror-like surface of mass. But the real strangeness is this, that what you're seeing may not be real anymore. It may have changed. It may no longer exist in the form you witness. The light took too long to arrive. What you see is its echo, its record, its reflection, caught by gravity and redirected just enough to reach you. And so the universe becomes a hall of mirrors, not confusing but deeply poetic. Every beam of light tells a double story, one about the object it came from, and one about the thing that bent it. Even our own galaxy participates in this mirror play. The Milky Way, seen from the side, warps space like a lens. It hides and reveals. And when you look into its dense center, you're not just seeing light, you're seeing light deflected by other stars, by dust, by the great central bulge wrapped around a black hole. You see nothing directly. Everything is reflected, folded, filtered through distortion. But this is not chaos. This is how you learn. Mirrors, even warped ones, offer perspective. You see yourself differently in the surface of a lake than you do in a polished pane of glass. In one, the image ripples, flickers, hides. In the other, it's crisp but reversed. Both are true in their own way. The universe offers both. Sometimes the truth is clear and literal. Sometimes it's wavy and emotional. Sometimes it's only hinted at, a reflection of something you've never seen but suddenly feel. This is not limited to space. Your memories are mirrors. Your thoughts bend truth, bounce it back at you with new angles. A moment from childhood, remembered as joy, may reflect differently in adulthood. Pain may soften, joy may dim. And yet the light that caused the memory, the photon of that exact second, is gone. What remains is the bend, the reflection, the shaped version. You are not misremembering. You are re-seeing. Your mind, like space, is not flat. When galaxies become mirrors, they show us the structure of reality, the scaffolding of the cosmos. They reveal the presence of dark matter, the invisible glue that holds the universe together. We can't see it, but we can see how galaxies reflect more light than their visible matter accounts for. They bend more than they should, which means something else is there, something unlit, something massive, something reflecting light, not by shine but by shape. And in the same way, the emotional weight in your own life can be mapped by what it bends, how it shapes your reactions, your relationships, your inner landscape. The memories you revisit most, the feelings you orbit, the reflections you seek, all point toward gravity wells of meaning, identity, longing. You may never touch them directly, but their shape is undeniable. Even in silence, mirrors whisper. Even when you don't ask for a reflection, you're given one. A glance in a window, a shadow on the floor, a memory triggered by a song, a mood you can't explain. These are the light echoes of something else. Events, people, places, now distant, but still shaping the photons that reach you. To lie beneath stars is not just to see into space. It is to look into a vast mirror of time, of scale, of feeling. Every patch of sky is a mirror showing what once was, what might still be, what never will be again. The galaxy above you is not a ceiling. It is a corridor of mirrors, each shaped by mass, memory, and the silent patience of light. So tonight, as you rest, let yourself reflect. Let yourself be reflected. You are part of this mirror dance. You receive and bend and return light, just as the galaxies do. You may not always see what's behind you, but the curve in your thought, the arc in your story, the echo in your memory, they reveal it. Not in a straight line, but in reflection. The telescope that watched time collapse was not a machine of noise and brightness. It was quiet, patient, floating in the silent dark with no wind, no vibration, no ticking clock. The Hubble Space Telescope, and later the James Webb, are not just instruments of sight. They are vessels of delay, catching the softest, most ancient light that has been traveling for billions of years, like a message sent before there were ears to hear it. When we speak of telescopes, we often think of magnification, of zooming in. But what they truly do is wait. They stretch their hands into the dark and open their mirrors to time itself. What they see is not the present. What they see is the collapse of time. One long reversal of events. Like watching raindrops fly up from the sea into the clouds, rewinding the creation of everything. You cannot look into the sky and see now. That concept fades the moment you lift your eyes and gaze far enough, because every photon, every beam of light, every signal captured by a telescope has traveled. It has moved through gravitational fields, interstellar dust, the invisible winds of dark energy, and only now, only at this moment has it been caught. What you see is not what is, but what was, a frozen flash of existence, carried to you by light that never aged but told the story of aging. The deeper a telescope peers, the further it goes in time, back through the lives of stars, back past the birth of galaxies, back to when the first atoms cooled. Light from those early eras is stretched now, its frequency changed, pulled toward the red end of the spectrum, not because it weakened, but because the universe itself expanded beneath it. This redshift is a signature, a timestamp, a soft whisper that says, "I came from before." And yet the telescope does not simply collect facts, it collects echoes. It watches as time collapses in on itself, not in catastrophe, but in convergence. Different eras, different lives, different phases of the cosmos, all entering the lens at once, layered, folded, ghosts of collisions, births, endings. The telescope does not just see one moment, it sees moments stacked across eons. In 1995, Hubble was pointed at what seemed to be an empty patch of sky, no visible stars, no clouds, just nothingness. For 10 days it stared, 10 days of silence, 10 days of photons barely whispering into its sensors, and what it saw became known as the Hubble Deep Field. But thousands of galaxies, each a universe of stars, each a story so old it predates language. That patch of darkness, once thought void, held the entire history of light. This is how time collapses. Not with a bang, but with a gaze. And it saps not just cosmic. Your own memory works the same way. A smell, a sound, a name, and suddenly time folds. You are 10 years old, or 20, or standing in a place that no longer exists. Your mind is a telescope, and the photons it catches are not always physical. They are emotional. Impressions, triggered and reassembled. The past arrives not in order, but in orbit. It circles, it falls into focus unexpectedly. Dreams are telescopes too. When you sleep, your mind rotates through timelines. Not linear, not logical, but luminous. You move through scenes stitched from history, imagination, desire. You see someone you lost. You revisit a street from childhood. The walls are wrong, the sky unfamiliar, but the feeling is precise. You are watching time collapse inwards, reshaped by the lens of your sleeping self. Just like a telescope, you don't make time appear, you wait for it. The James Webb Space Telescope sees in infrared, heat, ghost warmth. It doesn't look for things shining brightly now. It looks for things that stopped glowing long ago, whose warmth is still stretching across the void. In this way it sees the first galaxies, the oldest stars, the faintest shimmer of structure forming in a world where nothing had yet taken shape. And in your life you do this too. You recognize the warmth of something that's no longer here. You feel the memory of a touch. Long after the hand has gone, you carry the heat of laughter that happened in another decade. You are your own deep field, a canvas of ancient light, still arriving. You don't need a telescope to collapse time. You do it when you remember, when you long, when you imagine, when you grieve. Grief in particular is a form of time collapse. It's when the weight of now folds backward and brings the presence of someone who is no longer in this timeline. Not a vision, not a fantasy, but a return of feeling, their voice in your mind, their gesture in your own hand, their absence in your every step. And somehow, they are both gone and near, like a galaxy whose light still reaches you long after it died. The telescope doesn't set lie. It doesn't pretend to show you the present. It offers you the truth that all seeing is delayed, that all beauty is time caught mid-flight, that you do not need to rush to understand the universe. You only need to watch. You only need to let the old light arrive. And tonight, as you lie still, your body is doing just that. Catching signals, letting warmth land gently on your skin, letting memory stretch toward you. And in the quiet collapse of time you feel something small and vast all at once, that you are part of this pattern, that you are a telescope too, waiting, watching, dreaming through centuries of light. You are reflected in a dying star, not metaphorically, not poetically, physically. The light from that star, ancient, scattered, dimmed, traveled across trillions of kilometers, danced through the pull of gravity, skimmed dust clouds, bent around invisible masses, and at last entered your eye. It didn't announce itself. It didn't blaze with fanfare. It simply arrived, quietly, a photon, born from the death of a distant sun, ending its journey in the lens of your vision. You might have blinked. You might have looked at the sky with no intention of meaning. But the reflection happened. That light touched you. You became the surface that ended its story. And in that way you were connected, not to a concept, not to a symbol, but to the physical remains of a real thing that burned long before your world even existed. There's something humbling in that. Something grounding. The universe, in all its vastness, found a path, one in which you, resting now in your bed, became the destination of a dying star's final whisper. That photon, in traveling toward you, carried information. It was a message, not in words, but in wavelength, color, energy, a story of temperature, mass, collapse, transformation, and when it touched you, the message was complete. You are not separate from the sky. You are part of its dialogue. When a star dies, it releases light not just in one direction, but in all directions. Spherical radiation. Its last breath expands outward endlessly, hoping to be received. Most of that light never touches anything. It travels forever, lost in silence. But some of it finds its mark, a telescope lens, a planet's surface, a water droplet, your eye. When that happens, the light completes its purpose. This is what it means to be reflected in a dying star. Not that the star saw you, but that it reached you. Its light became part of your awareness. You now carry it. You saw it, even briefly, and it shaped you. And you return that light too. Your skin, your body, your breath, all radiate, not in visible color, but in infrared. Soft heat, the leftover warmth of your metabolism, the motion of your cells. That warmth creates photons, particles of light that rise from you like invisible mist. Some of them will land close by, others will travel forever. You too are sending out light that may one day land on someone else, or something else, or no one. But it moves, it expands. You are part of the glowing. And your body, this structure of blood and thought and breath, was forged in stars that died long ago, not the same one you looked at. Others, billions of them, their cores collapsed, and in the fire of their endings new elements formed: carbon, calcium, iron, oxygen. You are not just stardust in a poetic sense. You are the byproduct of stellar death. You are what happens when light becomes mass. So when you look up, you are not just looking at the stars. You are looking at your relatives, at your past, at your origin reflected back at you through time. Sometimes we think of reflection as a surface thing, a mirror, a pond, a window, but in the universe, reflection is motion. It is the journey of light, altered, and bent, and absorbed, and re-emitted. You reflect not because you try to, but because you exist. Your body is a surface, your emotions too. You absorb, you transform, you respond. When someone looks at you with love, they are reflecting the love you gave them. When the night sky opens and reminds you of something quiet and beautiful, it is reflecting the part of you that was ready to remember. You are not a blank wall, you are a mirror of time. The dying star whose light touched you may have collapsed into a white dwarf or a neutron star, or disappeared entirely. Its planets may have frozen, its moons spun loose, but its final light kept going, and part of it is now part of you. You will forget it. You will never know which photon came from where. But your body received it. Your brain formed an image. Your mind felt a feeling. That is reflection. It doesn't require understanding. It only requires presence. And tonight, as you lie still, your body is catching more light from the moon, from street lamps, from ancient galaxies. You are glowing softly in return. Your breath warms the air. Your heat presses into the mattress. Light leaves you with each second. You are participating in the quiet exchange that shaped the cosmos. You were not meant to chase light. You were meant to be touched by it. You were not built to become stars. You were built to carry their echo. So let yourself rest tonight, knowing that in the quiet dark you are not invisible. You are being reflected. You are the mirror of something ancient, and the universe sees itself in you. Light beyond the rainbow exists, not just as an idea, but as a presence all around you, touching your skin, passing through your walls, bending through your bones. You cannot see it, but it sees you. It warms you. It watches silently, invisible but always active. The rainbow is not the whole story. It is only the visible part of something much, much larger, a narrow sliver of a wide river. Your eyes are tuned to a small window of electromagnetic waves, violet on one end, red on the other. Everything you call color lives in this band, but beyond red is infrared, beyond violet is ultraviolet, and beyond those there are more: light that doesn't shimmer, light that doesn't glow, light that reveals by absence, by heat, by radiation. You feel the warmth of infrared in sunlight. It's what makes a sunbeam linger on your arm, even after the light has moved. It's what keeps your body warm under a blanket. Infrared isn't bright. It doesn't dazzle, but it moves through space like breath. Subtle, constant, even your body emits it. You glow invisibly into the dark. And on the other side, ultraviolet. The color bees can see, but you can't. The shimmer on flowers that tells pollinators where to land. The part of sunlight that gives you a tan or a burn. Ultraviolet is sharp, high energy. It slips through windows and bounces off white walls. You can't see it, but your skin remembers it. Cells remember. Time remembers. But this light is only the beginning. Beyond it lies X-rays, which pass through flesh but pause at bone. Gamma rays even higher in energy, released in supernovae and the decay of radioactive elements. And below infrared, microwave radiation. Then radio waves, long and slow, curling through the air, invisibly, carrying voices, music, messages. This is the full electromagnetic spectrum, a vast sea of waves, all traveling at the speed of light, all part of the same family. Light is not just brightness, it is information, it is structure, it is memory, encoded in motion. And most of it, you cannot see. The rainbow is a doorway, but it is not the house. In the 19th century, William Herschel discovered infrared light, not with his eyes, but with a thermometer. He passed sunlight through a prism and placed thermometers in each color, and one just beyond the red. That final thermometer rose higher than all the others, a place where no light was visible, and yet heat arrived. Light had gone farther than vision, and you here in the present are wrapped in that unseen glow every day. At night, your walls radiate infrared. Your mattress stores the heat of your skin and releases it slowly, like a whisper. The warmth you feel is not from what you see. It is from what exists outside your range. Even your memories are shaped by this light. The feeling of warmth in a childhood room, the sensation of heat from a fire. Long after the flames have died, you are not remembering color. You are remembering invisible light, felt, not seen, carried through time not as image, but as comfort. You live in a bath of invisible light. Satellites orbit the Earth, reading the planet in infrared. They map wildfires, measure vegetation, track oceans. Hospitals scan bones with X-rays, treat tumors with gamma rays. Radios beam music through air that feels empty. Microwaves cook your food without flame. All of this is light, not poetic light. Real, physical, moving light, outside the rainbow, but inside your life. And in your body this light is always at work. Infrared photons escape you constantly. Like a trail of warmth no one sees, your cells, when stressed or sick, emit different types of radiation. Scientists study this. They've learned that light can diagnose, can heal, can guide. You are not just a receiver of light. You are a source. Even in sleep, your dreams are lit by internal signals. Your brain, pulsing with neural activity, glows faintly. That activity changes your temperature. It creates tiny variations in infrared emission, not enough to be felt, but enough to be measured. You sleep in darkness, but your body always glows. Animals sense this. Snakes, with pit organs, see in infrared. They strike not at color, but at warmth. Bees see ultraviolet. They follow a pattern of light you cannot detect. To them, the world is painted in invisible ink. Even birds can detect polarized light. To them, the sky is striped with guidance. What you call the world is only your world. There are others, other ways of seeing, other kinds of light, and the universe itself glows in invisible colors. The cosmic microwave background, the afterglow of the Big Bang, is not seen in violet or gold, it's in microwaves. Cold, ancient, stretched by time. It fills the sky in all directions, not as brightness, but as temperature. That warmth you feel when you think of the night sky as alive. That's the oldest light in the universe, still moving, and you are here to feel it. Even if you don't sense to know, you may think of light as something that needs eyes, but it doesn't. Light moves whether or not it is seen. It travels, bounces, carries messages, waits to be found. You are surrounded by these messages, some millions of years old, some seconds, some from your own skin. The rainbow you see in a prism, in a spray of water, is beautiful, but it is only the start. Beyond it, light continues. Beyond it, truth continues. And tonight, while you lie still, your body wrapped in warmth, your room filled with a hush, light outside the rainbow continues to move through you. Softly, invisibly, patiently. It asks for nothing. It offers everything. You do not need to see it to be touched by it. You do not need to understand it to be shaped by it. You are living in a spectrum, and it loves you quietly. The moment you step into sunlight, something ancient begins to happen, even if you never notice it. Photons, born in the heart of the sun over 100,000 years ago, finally reach your skin. Their journey began as chaos, scattered within a dense glowing furnace of hydrogen and helium, pushed and pulled in every direction by pressure and fusion and gravity. They bounced for millennia inside the sun before breaking free, and when they did, they raced straight toward you, crossing 93 million miles in just over 8 minutes. But here's the mystery: what touched your face wasn't just light, it was an invisible thread connecting you to a timeline older than your bones. Most of that journey, those photons were not what you'd call light at all. They were gamma rays, far beyond your vision, but the universe stretched them, pulled them, cooled them. By the time they reached Earth, they had transformed into visible light, into warmth, into the comfort you feel when you lie by a window and bask in morning glow. And beyond that glow, still more, the spectrum outside your knowing. You cannot feel a gamma ray the way you feel the sun, but if one passed through you, and it might have, it would do so with an energy unimaginable. It could change molecules, it could whisper instructions to atoms, it could be both healing and harmful, depending on where it landed. These are not colors, they are commands written in frequency, and you, even in stillness, are both receiver and responder. Radio waves, too, move through you constantly. You don't feel them, you don't glow in their presence, but they pass. Every signal, every broadcast, every satellite transmission. Your body is transparent to them. You are walking through a forest of messages, music, maps, all unseen. This world is not invisible. It is simply too much for your senses. But science is how we stretch our senses, how we build extensions to the self, antennas, detectors, telescopes, microscopes. We use machines to touch what our skin cannot, and those machines show us the universe is speaking all the time, not in sound, not in symbols, but in light. Each frequency tells a different part of the story. The sun in ultraviolet reveals solar storms, in X-ray it shows flares, in infrared its outer layers shimmer with hidden turbulence. One object, many stories, many truths, depending on how you choose to see. The same is true for Earth. Our planet, from above, glows differently in different wavelengths. Forests shine brightly in near-infrared. Oceans reflect microwaves that betray their temperature. Cities hum with heat at night, visible in thermal cameras. Everything you know, your home, your memories, your body, has other faces in other lights. Your own body radiates infrared, not just from skin but from breath, from eyes, from fingertips. If someone looked at you through an infrared camera in total darkness, they would still see you glowing. Your warmth is not a metaphor, it is literal. Photons are escaping you constantly. You are made of motion, and motion creates light. Even your thoughts generate heat. The brain, working as it does, is not cold computation. It is a furnace of perception and memory, wrapped in softness. Every time you remember someone, every time you feel love or grief or wonder, photons rise. Your emotions, in a sense, become part of the invisible world. This is why you cannot separate science from feeling. They are the same stream, just seen at different wavelengths. Infrared is the light of memory. Ultraviolet is the light of warning. Radio is the light of connection. Gamma is the light of change. And all of them exist together, here, now, inside you and around you. When you sleep, your body does not become still. It moves in temperature, in frequency. If someone watched you through a thermal lens, they would see waves of warmth rising from your chest, your legs, your hands. They would see you breathe in light, release it, receive it, share it. You are not a machine that goes dark at night. You are a lantern. And even in sleep, your light reaches. Consider the stars you see in the sky. Most shine in visible light, but many of them, the hottest, the youngest, the most violent, burn in ultraviolet and X-ray. You never see them, but they are there, blazing. And then there are others, quieter stars, cooler ones that shine mostly in infrared. To you they are invisible, but with the right lens they become brilliant. This is the miracle of perspective. Nothing is truly dark. It is only unseen. And that lesson applies to more than science. It applies to people, to lives, to days when you feel like nothing is happening. When your heart feels quiet or sad or slow, there is still light moving in you. It may not be visible, but it is there. Healing takes time. Change takes light from frequencies you don't always know how to feel. Even grief glows, not in the visible spectrum, but in the way you remember, in the warmth you feel from a photograph, in the music that makes your skin rise. That is infrared in its human form. You are a full spectrum being, living in a narrow band world. But tonight, you can rest in that knowing. You can close your eyes and feel the blanket. Touch your arms. That touch creates warmth. That warmth becomes photons. Those photons begin to rise. They move slowly, outward, upward, and someone, somewhere, with the right detector, might see you, not as an outline, not as a shadow, but as a being of soft light, resting. You do not need to glow brightly to matter. You only need to continue glowing, and you will. The world you move through is not still. It hums, it pulses, it radiates, not with visible fire, but with the quiet release of energy that never stops. You are surrounded by waves that do not crash like oceans but ripple silently, endlessly, like invisible tides of light. The air carries them. The walls absorb them. Your own body adds to them. If you could see every frequency of light, the world would blind you, not with brilliance, but with density. Your room would glow in layers, the warm red-orange fog of infrared pouring off your pillow, the sharper edges of ultraviolet bouncing from your window pane, the low whisper of radio curling through every wall, tracing from routers, from radios, from cell towers far away, the microwave song of your kitchen appliance, singing to the molecules of your coffee, the ever-present background hiss of cosmic radiation, the leftover echo of the Big Bang sliding through space like an eternal lullaby. This is the invisible world, and it is the real one. Even now, as you lie still, your blanket pulled over your chest, your head gently sunk into the pillow, you are a generator of light, not metaphor, not poetry, Actual measurable light. You glow in infrared. A thermal camera would see your limbs in shades of rose and amber. Your breath a plume of faint color each time it leaves your lips. You are not passive. You are radiant, and the world responds. Mosquitoes track your heat. Satellites trace weather through infrared. Firefighters search for survivors by the warmth of their bodies. Medical scans read the temperature of your skin to reveal fever, swelling, or circulation. The spectrum of light beyond the rainbow is not just theoretical. It is woven into your survival. Imagine standing in a forest at night. You see darkness, maybe starlight above, a faint blue wash. But with an infrared scope, the forest transforms. Leaves glow with trapped warmth. Animals appear, not as forms but as radiance. You see the heat trail of a fox in the grass, the slow shimmer of a bird nesting in a tree. Each breath, each footfall, a wave of invisible light. Now shift further to ultraviolet. You hold a flower, and it looks ordinary. Pale yellow, simple, but under ultraviolet it explodes with pattern. Lines, dots, guides, shapes meant for bees. Not you. Signals, instructions, pathways. You never saw them because you were never meant to, but they were always there. The flower was always more complex than you thought. This is the deeper truth. The universe does not limit itself to your senses. You simply interpret a sliver of its language. And yet, through tools, through science, you expand your sight. Telescopes that see in X-ray reveal the skeletons of galaxies. Radio dishes catch whispers from pulsars. Infrared telescopes reveal newborn stars, still cradled in dust. You have built mirrors that see farther than eyes, instruments that touch light you cannot feel. And with every discovery, the world grows softer, stranger, closer. You begin to realize light is not only what we see, it is how the universe remembers. The glow of your skin after sunlight, the warmth of sand long after the sun has set, the faint hiss between radio stations, the soft hum of a baby monitor, the shimmering data of a satellite beaming weather across hemispheres. These are all stories told in frequency, not in words. And you, sir, a character in that story. Your heart beats, and that motion creates subtle pressure waves. Your cells metabolize and photons escape. Even your thoughts, firing in the dark corridors of your brain, alter the temperature of blood flow, change the way your head glows in infrared. Somewhere, a bat flies overhead, navigating by sound, a kind of light made of pressure. Somewhere, a whale sings a frequency that travels across oceans. Somewhere, a gamma ray from a supernova explodes into the detectors of a deep space telescope, and scientists scramble to record it. And somewhere, right here, your body lies in a quiet room, generating its own signal. Your warmth touches your sheets. Your breath moves the air. The spectrum of light does not judge which part is important. It simply exists. It carries all information, the violent, the tender, the ordinary. Your laugh is radio. Your tears are infrared. Your memory of sunlight as a child is ultraviolet, stored deep in your skin, in molecules of melanin that still hold the echo of brightness. And one day, when your body grows still, the light will not vanish. It will move into other forms. The energy will continue. The warmth will rise. The atoms once born in stars will cool, disperse, reform. The spectrum will remember you. In the end, it already does. You are made of frequencies. And you are being read by the world all the time. Not through your name, not through your image, but through your glow. So lie still, now. Feel the weight of the blanket settle into your chest. Feel the coolness of the air by your cheek. Know that your body is not alone. It is part of a sea of warmth, a mist of light, moving always through time. You do not need to shine brightly to be seen. You only need to be present. And you are. Time is not a feeling, though it often feels like one. It's not a sound, though you hear it in the ticking of clocks, the ringing of bells, the heartbeat against your pillow. It's not a color, though it passes in shades, dawn to dusk, blue hour to night. Time is a rhythm that hides behind everything you do. But what if you could see it? You do, not through your eyes but through light. Every photon carries time inside it, a message from when it began, a timestamp etched into its wave. Light is not just color or heat. It's history in motion. When you look at the stars, you're looking back in time. That light has traveled years, decades, centuries to reach you. It began moving long before you took your first breath. It has passed galaxies, dodged planets, slipped through dust and silence just to land softly in your eye. And in that moment, the moment you look, you become part of the equation. You are the ending point of something ancient. You receive the past, shaped as present. But time and light aren't set just poetic metaphors. They are deeply, inseparably bound in the physics of our universe. Einstein showed us this, that light doesn't just move through time, it measures it. The faster something moves, the slower its time passes. At the speed of light, time does not pass at all. For a photon, the beginning and the end of its journey are the same moment. No waiting, no delay, just instant transmission from the photon's point of view. You, however, are not a photon. Your body is rooted in time. It changes, ages, breathes in rhythms. Your cells divide, your memories accumulate. You feel time, in bones, in breath, in tired eyes that have watched too many sunsets. But the light you see, that's from things that don't feel time like you do. That's why time and light are such quiet companions. They're not opposites, they're shadows of each other. Light lets you see time, and time lets you feel light. When you watch a sunrise, you're not just watching a color shift, you're watching your planet rotate. You're watching your part of the world tilt into light. You're witnessing motion so smooth you can't feel it. A cosmic ballet happening under your skin. Each ray of gold slipping through your window is arriving from the past. Not a distant past, maybe only 8 minutes ago, but still, a delay, a signature of time written into brightness. Now imagine the universe without light. You would never know how far, how old, how vast. You wouldn't know anything had ever happened. Because time without light is invisible, and light without time is impossible. Every clock, digital or analog, is a performance of light and time. A microwave flashes its hours in glowing numbers. A phone vibrates in cycles, using precise timing based on oscillating quartz crystals. Even atomic clocks, the most accurate in the world, rely on microwave radiation emitted by electrons changing energy levels. That radiation, it's light. Invisible to you, but pulsing with precision. It tells us how long a second truly is. Light is how we measure time, and time is how we understand change. Now take a deep breath. Let it out slowly. That breath is time too, counted in the rise of your chest, the warmth in your lungs, and the light that passes through the air, bouncing gently off the curves of your skin, records that breath. In infrared, it glows. In visible light, it casts soft shadows. In ultraviolet, it touches your cells. You are being witnessed, not by eyes but by the entire electromagnetic spectrum. Your body, in this moment, is a timeline. Each scar, each freckle, each tiny wrinkle is a mark where light and time have met. And when you close your eyes, it doesn't stop. The glow behind your eyelids, that faint reddish pulse, is blood and warmth, yes, but also photons finding their way. You might not be aware of it, but the moment your eyes close, your body begins to reset its rhythms. Light and darkness are how your brain tells time. You have a clock inside you, a circadian rhythm, tuned to the rising and setting of the sun, and light keeps it honest. Even blindfolded, your body will eventually feel the difference between day and night. Your core temperature changes. Hormones rise and fall. The world moves in cycles, and so do you. Every 24 hours your cells align themselves to a pattern written in light. That's why we call it biological time. Because even without a wristwatch or a calendar, your body knows. It feels the weight of night, the call to rest, the slight coolness of midnight air, the deep blue quiet of 3 a.m., the first silent shimmer of dawn. Your breath slows, your thoughts drift. But even as you sleep, the clocks of your body tick on, your heart keeps its beat. Your brain cycles through phases, and somewhere far above, in a satellite orbiting Earth, An atomic clock counts time so precisely that it can measure the difference in gravity between mountaintops and valleys. Gravity, too, affects time. The deeper in gravity you go, the slower time moves. A person living at sea level ages just a tiny fraction of a second slower than someone on a mountain. Not enough to notice, but enough for physics to know. Time bends under pressure, and light follows that bend. It curves around stars, around black holes, around you. So what are you really? You are light slowed down by matter, time made visible through motion, a being shaped by gravity, pulled into the story of the cosmos, not just through living but through glowing. You are not separate from the clock, you are part of it. And tonight, you are ticking gently forward. The light outside has dimmed. The stars, those slow messengers from the past, have appeared. You may close your eyes, but the universe in light, in time, in quiet rhythm, will keep unfolding. The ticking of time is not something you hear in space. There is no sound, no chimes, no echo, and yet time moves, not as a sound, but as a slow folding and unfolding of space itself. A rhythm so quiet it reshapes everything. You may not feel it on Earth, but the deeper you dive into gravity, the slower your clock runs. That's not philosophy, that's physics. Consider a mountain. At its summit, time is moving just a hair faster than it is at the base. Not metaphorically. Literally. Your feet age ever so slightly slower than your head. If you had an atomic clock in your shoes, and one on your scalp, they would disagree. You wouldn't notice, but time would. Now, imagine standing beside a black hole. Its gravity is so intense that time itself nearly stops. A single second for you there could be hours, days, even centuries elsewhere. If you returned, the world you knew would be gone. You would have moved a heartbeat. They would have lived and died, all because of gravity's hold on time. And this isn't just theory. We've seen it. In 2019, scientists captured the image of a black hole's shadow, not the black hole itself, but the space around it, where light could no longer escape. That glow you saw in headlines, that was time distorted. Light, bent, gravity, painting with photons. It took teams across the planet, radio telescopes working together in perfect sync, to capture that moment, a planet-wide eye blinking into the past. Because when you look at light, you're always looking into history. The farther the light has traveled, the deeper the past you're seeing. That star twinkling above your window, it might have already died. Its light just hasn't stopped arriving yet. You're receiving the echo of something that no longer exists. But even echoes matter. They remind us, the universe is not static. It is always moving, always aging, always renewing. And so are you. Your body contains dozens of clocks. Your cells know what time it is, even if your mind doesn't. Your liver, your skin, your lungs, all follow their own rhythms. Morning light resets them. Darkness tells them to rest. Jet lag, insomnia, sadness. They aren't just feelings, they're clock malfunctions. Your body trying to readjust to a rhythm that light once told it was true. This is why dawn feels different. Why sunset makes you quiet. Your biology is reading the room, not with your mind, but with your light-sensitive cells. You have photoreceptors, not only in your eyes, but in your skin. They help keep time, they read the brightness, they adjust your internal tides. When the light changes, you do too. And at the speed of light, things become strange. Imagine a beam of light racing across space. From its own perspective, no time passes. It leaves a star and hits your eye instantly. It doesn't set to experience distance. This means light has no now. It only has always. You, on the other hand, feel every second. You age, you sleep, you ache. And yet within you there are particles that once moved like light, neutrinos that pass through stars, atoms that were forged in explosions before our solar system began. You carry ancient time inside you, not just metaphorically, chemically. You are made of stardust. This is not poetry. This is chemistry. The iron in your blood, it was forged in the collapse of a massive star. The calcium in your bones, born in stellar fusion. The oxygen you breathe, released by plants. Yes, but originally shaped in cosmic furnaces. Your body is a collection of time's greatest hits, arranged into one fragile, glowing moment. And in that moment, your body obeys the clock. Your heartbeat, a steady metronome. Your breath, a tide. Your eyes blink in intervals. Your mind drifts in rhythms. And when you fall asleep, that rhythm doesn't stop. It softens, it enters a different mode, one where time becomes slippery, where minutes stretch and collapse, where you forget what hour it is. That's the space where dreams live, where memory folds in on itself, and time is not a line but a pool. Light plays a role here too. Even in sleep, your brain is sensitive to its absence or return. A single flicker of light can tug you from the deepest slumber, not always to wake you but to stir something inside, a whisper to your cells, prepare, because day is coming, and the clocks must begin again. This is why the sunrise matters more than you think. It doesn't just brighten your room, it realigns you. It resets the pendulum inside your chest. Every bird that sings at first light is obeying this reset. Every leaf that turns toward warmth is reading the signal. Every cell in your skin, in quiet, recognizes the rhythm has shifted. Time and light are not separate. They are the same current. One moves, one reveals the motion. And in the dance between the two, you exist. Not as a fixed being, but as a momentary arrangement of molecules in time, a flicker of warmth, a flash of awareness, a pause between darkness and brightness. So when you lie in the quiet, letting your muscles go heavy, your eyes soften, your chest rise and fall, know this: your body is not doing nothing. It is listening to the slow beat of the universe, aligning itself again with the clock that has always been ticking, not in numbers but in light. And even if you cannot see it, it sees you. Even if you cannot feel it, it touches you. You are not drifting through time. You are time. And the light is how you remember. Time doesn't shout. It doesn't announce itself with trumpets or drums. It slips in like fog, settling over your shoulders. It clings to your eyelashes. It gathers in corners. You don't see it. You see through it. And yet time is the most constant thing you've ever known. It is the quiet current that carries everything forward, from the rotation of the earth to the slow cooling of stars. And it never stops. Even now, as your body lies still, and your breath softens, time moves through you. It rides your blood. It whispers across your skin. Every atom in your body is older than you. Some are older than Earth. And yet they follow the same rules. They decay. They vibrate. They rotate. They emit light. All in time. All in rhythm. The world is not a still image. It's a film, each frame flowing into the next, the shutter never ceasing. But here sits the mystery. Time is not absolute. In the Newtonian sense, we used to think it was a giant clock in the sky, ticking the same for all things. But the universe corrected us. Einstein shattered that simplicity. He showed that time bends, it stretches, it dilates, it curves in the presence of gravity, it dances with motion. Two clocks, side by side, might agree, but move one quickly, or place it near a massive object, and it will tick more slowly than the other. You won't feel it, but it will happen. You live in a world that obeys this strange ballet. Your GPS satellites account for this. They orbit the Earth faster, in weaker gravity. Their clocks tick differently. If we didn't adjust for that time dilation, your map app would be wrong by miles. This isn't sci-fi. It's daily life. Precision depends on understanding time's flexibility. But what does that mean for you? It means you are not just moving through time. You are shaping it. Every decision you make, every movement, even your stillness, has temporal weight. You are not a passive observer. You are a participant. A painter using light and seconds instead of brushes. And every breath is a brushstroke. Even in sleep, your body is aware of time. Your dreams follow arcs. Your sleep cycles occur in waves. Light sleep, deep sleep, REM, and back again. Roughly every 90 minutes. Your brain resets the dream reel. You drift. You rise. You sink. And this rhythm, this dance of neural patterns, is synchronized by internal timekeepers, So small they live in your brain's suprachiasmatic nucleus, the true conductor of your circadian orchestra. And yet, what guides that tiny conductor? Light. A photon touches your retina, even through closed lids, and signals begin. Your brain notes the presence of dawn. Melatonin production drops. Cortisol rises. Your body begins to anticipate morning, not because of the hour on a clock, but because of light. Light tells you when you are. Time tells you how you are. And both guide what you become. You are a creature of cycles, born under a pulsing star, on a planet that spins and wobbles and tilts. The year, the day, the hour, they are carved into you. You think in moments. You speak in rhythms. You recall memories as if they live in rooms, each labeled with a time. This happened when I was 6. It was winter. It was after she left. Time is the architecture of memory and light. It's the furniture. When you remember a moment, you don't just remember what was said, you remember the light in the room. Was it warm, harsh, flickering? You remember if the sun was in your eyes, if the shadows were long, if the sky was the soft grey of evening. The light tells your brain, this is where we were in time. You can close your eyes now and summon whole memories with light alone. The golden slant of afternoon on your grandmother's porch. The blue of hospital walls at midnight. The amber flicker of birthday candles. Each shade a tick of time, a code, a pulse. You don't realize it, but your brain stores light like a film reel, and time is how you know when to play it back. Now listen, even as you lie here, resting, your body emits a soft glow, not visible to your eyes, but measurable to machines. Infrared, a field of warmth that spreads from your skin into the space around you. Your bed holds your shape in heat. Your breath leaves trails in the air. If someone entered the room with thermal goggles, they would see you, not as flesh, but as a bright bloom of living time. That glow says this person is alive. This person is now. And when you sever gone, that glow will fade. But time will go on, not as punishment, not as loss, but as continuity. You are a link in a chain older than civilization. Your thoughts, your heartbeat, your eyes blinking open under stars, all of it is part of the universe becoming more aware of itself. Because what is consciousness, if not time learning how to feel? You are not just shaped by time. You are time folded into a nervous system, capable of looking back and forward. And tonight, as the world turns gently beneath you, you get to rest. You get to let go of clocks and calendars and alarms. You get to sink beneath the surface of seconds and minutes. You get to float. The world will keep ticking. The stars will keep shining. And light will keep arriving from stars you'll never visit, from galaxies you'll never name, from moments that ended long before you were born. And you'll be here, wrapped in time, lit by the quiet glow of now. There is a moment just before dawn when the world forgets to breathe. It is neither night nor morning. The space between, the stars still hang in the sky, but they are fading. The horizon is dark, but it is rising. This is not a time you can hold in your hands. It is a threshold, the soft seam between what has passed and what is becoming. And in that seam light waits. Not the kind of light you see during the day, not the golden warmth of the sun, or the silver echo of moonlight. This is ancient light, subtle, distant. It comes not from a bulb or a lamp or a flame, but from the very beginning. It has no color, no shape, no direction. It is everywhere and nowhere. It is the background hum of everything that has ever existed. This is the cosmic microwave background, the last light before darkness. Roughly 13.8 billion years ago, the universe was born in a moment we call the Big Bang, but it wasn't an explosion in space. It was an explosion of space. Before that, there was no time, no matter, no light, and then suddenly, there was all of it. In the first moments, the universe was so hot and dense that light couldn't travel. Photons bounced endlessly, trapped in a fog of particles too thick to pass through. But then, a shift. Around 380,000 years after the beginning, the universe cooled just enough. Atoms formed, the fog lifted, and light was released. That light is still traveling, still expanding, still filling every corner of the cosmos. It is faint, stretched thin by time, chilled to just a few degrees above absolute zero, but it's here, right now, passing through your room, touching your skin, whispering the story of everything. You can see it with your eyes, but it seps there, a blanket of light from the edge of time. And what's remarkable, what's quietly miraculous, is that we can hear it, not with our ears, but with instruments. Radio telescopes, sensitive enough to capture the leftover radiation from the Big Bang, detect this hum. It's not noise in the traditional sense. It's structure, it's pattern, it's history. And it tells us this: the universe has a memory. When you tune an old TV to a channel with no signal, and the screen flickers with static, a tiny fraction of that static is this ancient light. You are seeing in low resolution the glow of the beginning. It doesn't care about your location, your language, your worries. It just is. And it always has been. What does it mean to live inside light so old? It means you are never alone in time. You are surrounded by the past, wrapped in it like silk. Even now, as your breath slows and your body softens into the mattress, you are lying inside the echo of creation. You are floating in a sea of photons that began their journey before galaxies existed. Light is not visiting you. It has always been here. And here's the quiet truth that light doesn't illuminate anything. It's not there to help you see. It is what you would see if you could look back far enough. Beyond the stars. Beyond the dark. Beyond even time. It's the last thing you would find before everything disappears. And somehow you are made of it. Not metaphorically. Literally. The particles that make up your body, your bones, your blood, your breath, were once part of this early universe. Shaped by it, pressed together by gravity. Lit by it, you are the child of light that never meant to become anything more. And yet here you are, thinking, dreaming, remembering. And what do you remember? Moments, glimpses, fragments caught in light, a shadow moving across a sidewalk, the glint of sun off someone's hair, the golden haze of an evening you can't quite place. All of these are held together by your brain, a structure so complex it seems impossible, and yet it is nothing more than atoms following patterns, signals moving at the speed of light. Thoughts, you could say, are just light in disguise, firing across synapses, wired to time. And every night, when you sleep, your brain replays that light, weaving it into dreams, sorting it into memories, letting go of what no longer serves. You dream not in words, but in images, in shapes, in motion, in light. You are light, remembering itself. And just as you dream, the earth dreams too. It turns in slow silence. It tilts, it spins, it shifts. Day becomes night. Night becomes day. Again and again and again, a loop of light and shadow, a rhythm so ancient that even the rocks remember. The tides rise and fall. The flowers open and close. Even the insects time their songs to moonlight. And all of it happens without a clock. No numbers. No ticks. Just light. The original timekeeper. So tonight, as your thoughts begin to blur and your eyes begin to flutter closed, remember this. You are not drifting into darkness. You are drifting into light. Older than stars, quieter than silence, softer than breath. You are part of the last light before the edge. And it remembers you. There are places in the universe where the light never comes. Not because the stars have burned out or because the night is especially long, but because the very fabric of space bends light away. These are the places where time and gravity fold inward. Black holes, the final breath of a dying star. And yet, even here, the story of light is not fully extinguished. It lingers, even if only as memory. Imagine standing at the edge of a black hole, on a cold and silent plane of warped space. You wouldn't fall instantly, not if you stood just outside the boundary, the event horizon. This invisible line is not a wall, but a point of no return. Once you cross it, not even light can escape. But from where you are, just outside it, you would see the universe differently. Stars would stretch into rings, colors would smear, time would twist. And if someone were watching you from a distance, perhaps floating safely far away, They would see you slowing down, slower and slower, until, at the brink, you'd appear frozen, stuck in time, but you wouldn't feel frozen. You'd feel normal. Your thoughts would move, your breath would rise, the seconds would tick, and then, silently, you would vanish. Not all at once, not in a burst, but in a slow fade, like a shadow consumed by deeper shadow. This is not science fiction. This is physics. The bending of light, the stretching of time. Black holes are the final punctuation marks in the sentences of stars, born from collapse, when massive stars exhaust their fuel and can no longer hold back their own gravity. They shrink. They crush. They compress until space itself gives way. The result is not a hole, not in the traditional sense, but a region of space-time so curved that all paths lead inward. And yet, black holes glow, not brightly, not like suns or galaxies, but they emit a faint, cold shimmer, a whisper of light that seeps from their edges. This is Hawking radiation, a phenomenon predicted by physicist Stephen Hawking. It arises not from the black hole itself, but from the quantum fuzz around it, the jittering sea of particles that flicker in and out of existence, even in a vacuum. At the edge of the event horizon, one of these particles might fall in, while the other escapes. What escapes is light, and over eons, that light slowly drains the black hole, not violently, not dramatically, but gently, like a memory being forgotten, the most powerful object in the universe, undone by its own breath. You wouldn't notice it. It would take longer than the age of the universe, but it's happening. Even the darkest places eventually glow away. And if that's true for black holes, then what about you? You're not collapsing inward. You're expanding outward. Every thought, every word, every kindness, it radiates. Maybe not as light, maybe not as heat, but as influence, as connection. You are not a black hole. You are a beacon. And just like light from distant galaxies, your effect on the world travels far beyond what you'll ever see. Think of the first time you saw someone smile, and you smiled back. That sets light. Think of the words someone said years ago that still glow in your memory. That sets as light. Think of the comfort you gave someone, without knowing they needed it. That sips light, and it doesn't stop moving. It travels. It lingers. It echoes. You carry the light of others, and they carry yours. You are not a closed system. You are a source. And yet, you also contain darkness. Not evil, not absence, but rest. Darkness is not the enemy of light. It is its partner, its frame. Without darkness, light has no contrast, no meaning. The night does not erase the day, it holds it. And in the same way, your moments of silence are not empty. They are what give your brightness form. When you close your eyes at night, you are not extinguishing yourself. You are becoming a constellation of inward stars. Inside your brain, dreams begin, little flashes of memory, imagination and sensation. The visual cortex stirs. The hippocampus sorts. Your eyes flicker beneath their lids. And just like distant galaxies, you shine without knowing. You are a universe in miniature. A spiral of neurons. A web of emotion. A storm of thought. All glowing in the dark. And just as light from the earliest stars still travels toward us, undeterred by time or space, the first sparks of who you were continue to shape who you are. The first moment you were held. The first time you laughed. The first time you realized you were alive. These are not just memories. They are coordinates. Anchors. Beacons. They are your internal constellations. The map you carry forward, even when lost. And just as the universe keeps expanding, so do you. Not in size, but in possibility. Every night you rest, your brain rewires. Every time you sleep, your cells repair. Every deep breath, every slow exhale, brings you closer to equilibrium, closer to light. And as you drift now, maybe already halfway gone, know this: the dark is not empty. It is the field in which light plays, and you are part of that play. You are not the end of a sentence. You are the space between words, the pause, the breath. You are the quiet echo of stars long dead. You are the warmth of futures not yet born. And in the deepest dark, the light remembers your name. Somewhere far beyond your pillow, beyond the walls of your room, beyond even the turning earth itself, there is a quiet border to everything. A place not of endings, but of slow fading. Scientists call it the edge of the observable universe. But the truth is softer than that. It's not a wall, it's not a barrier, it's the last page in a book still being written. And beyond it, silence. Not silence as you know it, full of potential and breath, but the silence of light that hasn't arrived yet. Light that is still traveling. Light that may never reach us. Because the universe is expanding, not slowly, not gently, but with speed that bends comprehension. Distant galaxies are rushing away so fast that their light is stretched thinner and thinner, red-shifted, until it becomes undetectable, until even the glow of their presence disappears. And one day, billions of years from now, there will be galaxies we can no longer see at all. They will have crossed that cosmic horizon, not because they stopped shining, but because space itself pulled them beyond our sight. This is the last light before the edge, the light that just barely reaches us. And you, even now, are wrapped in it. That light is old, older than mountains, older than oceans. It left its source before Earth was formed, before the sun was born, before even our galaxy had its spiral shape. It traveled through a universe still learning what it meant to exist, and it found its way here, to this moment. To you, what does it mean to be a creature who can receive ancient light? It means you are not only made of stars, you are in conversation with them. You don't just absorb light, you reflect it. You carry it forward, your skin responds to it. Your eyes shape it into meaning. Your memories are organized around its rhythm. The blue of morning, the gold of afternoon, the violet hush of dusk. You feel time through color, through warmth, through shadow. And when the light fades, you don't panic. You rest. You trust that it will return. Just as you return each night to the darkness of sleep, not as escape, but as renewal. The universe trusts this rhythm too. It pulses with cycles of birth, expansion, fading, and rebirth. Stars die, and from their ashes, new stars are born. Galaxies collide, and from their chaos, new shapes emerge. Even the vacuum is not empty. It seethes with potential, with the raw possibility of matter and light flickering in and out of being. A dance so quiet, it takes the cold of space and the patience of time to detect. And through it all, light moves. Even when there is no one to see it. Even when it seems to go nowhere. Because light doesn't need an audience. It only needs space to stretch and time to unfold. So what happens at the true edge of everything? What lies beyond the last photon? Perhaps nothing. Or perhaps something stranger. A realm where light hasn't had time to arrive yet. A silence not of absence but of delay. A cosmic breath waiting to be exhaled. We can see beyond that horizon. Not yet. But our imaginations do. We dream of what lies past the edge. New dimensions, new physics, new ways of being. We send telescopes to the farthest reaches, trying to catch the faintest whispers. We build maps from the past to predict the future. And we write stories like this one to make peace with what we do not know. Because the edge is not just out there. It is inside you too. In the boundary between what you understand and what you feel. In the flicker between awareness and sleep. In the soft blur where dreams begin. That sits where light becomes metaphor. Where science becomes lullaby. Where questions become comfort. And here in this moment, as your breathing slows and your muscles soften into the bed, you are closer than ever to that edge. Not in a scary way. In a beautiful one. You are not falling. You are floating. Not away, but into memory, into rest, into a place where the last light doesn't vanish. It blends into silence. The silence of your own heartbeat. The hush of your mind letting go. The stillness of a body that knows it's set safe. Because the edge is not the end. It's the place where new beginnings wait. And when you wake, hours from now, gently, slowly, the light will still be here. The same light that crossed galaxies to reach you. The same light that greeted the first sunrise on Earth. The same light that remembers everything, including you.